City Council regular meeting will come to order on Tuesday, November 18th, 2014. Let's rise for a moment of silent meditation. The Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call.
Bast.
Here.
Cassatt.
Here.
Mope. Here. Sosar.
Here.
Monday.
Here. First is approving the minutes of the previous meeting, November 5th, 2014, on a regular meeting.
I'll present.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes passed. Proclamations, communications, none. Courtesy the floor regarding matters on our agenda only. Go ahead, Mark.
Mark Rabo, First Street, Hazleton. In regards to Resolution 2014-112, I read in today's paper about if the tax revenue service were to handle this, that it would be beneficial to the city rather than having the County Redevelopment Authority handle it, even though I disagree, because having it in dribbles would actually have it to where the cash flow would would stifle and not be all at once, so then it would cause problems. I take issue with the number that was given in terms of the savings. I think that as far as the fees, and I have them in front of me, as far as what would be saved, it would be $46,500 is the fees from that. And then you have the less the addition to the loan reserve of $11,344.95. So I do not know how the higher number was given, how that was obtained, but I also would like, I'm glad that the acting administrator's here today, so I could ask this question as far as, if you thought it was such a bad idea to go to County Redevelopment Authority, why didn't you propose...
This is on the agenda?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, you could...
Comments on the agenda? He's not questioning them.
Oh,
Hey, you
okay.
could question me, and we'll question them later when it comes up, Mark.
Okay, thanks. I will. My question is to the, if you can pose this, is if he thought it was such a bad idea, then why did he ask the County Redevelopment Authority to have a special meeting in April of this year to amend the agreement? Why didn't he just propose that the Northeast Revenue deal with it? I mean, that's my question, and like I said, I take issue with the number. And also, if Northeast Revenue had a better deal, why didn't they propose it earlier in the year? That's my question. And also with on the budget, on the ordinance 2014-20, I have a few comments. I believe that the airport manager salary, to double the airport manager salary, is a complete waste and a joke on the people. And because if you're going to raise taxes for police protection, I think you should look to cut waste in the spending, and there is waste, and that's just one of them. And the other one is, do you think maybe that the police overtime would also be better, like to cut that overtime down in order to offset the cost for new police would actually also be beneficial too. And I would like to also comment on 2014-116, the settlement. I believe that you have to, when you're doing the, enforcing, you have to also take into consideration the laws, because if you don't take into consideration the laws for code, you kind of get like, I know they're tricky, so you gotta watch it because they are amended, and the laws do change. So I just wanted the code enforcement to be aware of that. And also 2014-118 for LSA. I think that this is a good cause, and I would like, as far as future consideration for LSA money, that if it's in the name of, quote, economic development, I think that it should be ascertained as to what kind of benefit it is to the public at large, rather than a political faction or some group that will benefit financially. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Dee.
Dee Deacus, Hazleton. I was looking at the police department, and for some reason FICA is only $13,000. If I'm not mistaken, FICA is at least 6% of the salary. And if you have $2 million worth of salary, FICA should be a lot higher.
Could you answer that, Tom? I don't think they...
No problem. Police and fire
They don't come under that, yeah. They don't come under that.
Okay, so they don't pay Social Security. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they pay Medicare. They pay Medicare, I think, right, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the Medicare piece of it, D.
I think I'm loud enough anyway, but yeah, the Medicare piece is a deduction and a liability. FICA is not required for police and fire.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Judy.
Hi, Judy Urcho, Hazleton. I want my comment to be about the budget that you guys are looking at and what the insanity, actually, of a 27% hike. That will put me out of my house. And that's not a word of lie because I'm on disability. And I just got from the state who's doing cutbacks, which I can't understand why everyone else is doing cutbacks and tightening their belt, and Hazleton seems to be, here, take the wealth and take it off of us. Medicare is getting cut on me for my medicines. My one prescription that was $6 is going to go up to $66. That's monthly. So that's a lot of money that's coming out of my pocket that I struggle to begin with. I make ends meet, I do. Occasionally my mom helps me. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that get help other places. But 27%, and then I see a 3% increase on salaries when the fire department's been on hold. They've had a standstill on their pay. And no one wants to tighten their bets because they want to get an increase. They make more money than the average Hazletonian. We've got elderly here. I'm not the only one that's getting cut because my sister got cut, my mother's rates are going up, everybody is, because Pennsylvania State is not going to cover it anymore. Got a nice little letter in there. Humana's going to try to help a little bit and take out more of a burden, but do you know what kind of burden that's putting on the people out there? They're going to have to make a decision whether they're going to pay their taxes or the stormwater fee that was supposed to be a one-shot deal. Or do I get my medication? Seriously, if you can sit there and pass this budget with a straight face and say, yep, that's the way we're supposed to do it, then I feel sorry for you because if I did it, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. And for you to propose it, you're out of your mind. No one is struggling more than this town. And you guys say, okay, yeah, you want more police officers. You cannot guarantee me that getting 10 new police officers is going to help the crime rate go down when we have a 17% solve rate. If the detectives don't have anything to do, get them out there. I have nothing against the police officers. I say they do deserve a salary, yes. They went into this position knowing the dangers of it, because that's the first thing somebody says is, do you know how dangerous it is? But so is a soldier. And a soldier, average soldier salary is 20 grand or less. And he is in danger every second of the day if he's overseas. And you might as well say it here too, because how many times have people gone off and shot people that were on military bases in the last couple of years? So yes, they deserve a salary. I believe that. They deserve a pension. That's fine. But to say, let's increase it, let's put this town into more of a struggle, is ridiculous. We have people out there that are struggling. You want to make money? I told you, give me a ticket book. Because I have gotten stopped by people and talked to them about where there's trash that hasn't been picked up. I had a woman come to me and say that she filled out a form with code and told them where there was stuff, and nothing's been done in the last 3 weeks. Start ticketing the people that are illegal. I complained this week about somebody that's switching tags on cars. And the car was sitting on the street without a license plate because they took it off and put it on another car. I told them it was there. 4 hours, nobody came around. You want to make money? That's the way you make money. Don't tax us. Don't tax our taxpayers and then put us right into the ground and make us lose our homes. It's bad enough that the oil, it's lower now, but it still costs a lot. So, like I said, with a straight face, if you guys can pass this, then God bless you, because, you're going to put a lot of people under. Thank you.
Norman Tarantino, Lee Court in Hazleton. First of all, I'm on disability. I'm having a large, low income that I have right now, and it's going to raise my equity that I have to pay every month on my loan. Maybe only $10 or $15 a month, but right now that's a lot of money, and it's going to affect a lot of senior citizens the same way if they don't have the funding to pay any increases that are across the board. There are other ways to address this, such as user fees and things like that that the city can address, such as some of these late night clubs, if they want to carry BYOB, put a corkage charge on them. There are lots of ways the city can collect, and they should look at what type of user fees they have for all the people who are taking advantage of the city, and that's one of the ways that we could increase the income tax. This is a tax and spend budget. I didn't think Republicans put these kind of budgets out, so that has me kind of surprised. But I think this is something you really have to make addresses and rein it in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Norm.
Any other questions? Or, go ahead, Grace.
Grace Cuso, Hazleton. Under your code enforcement, how come there's a $50,000 increase in salary?
I think that's the supervisor and some of the other people that they're hiring, the part-time people, right, Tom? If you could.
Yeah, there's a part-time supervisor that is in that
And we
department
hired
currently.
3 part-time people to work.
Well, kind of, sort of, but another impact is the individual coming over from the parking authority is now part of the code enforcement. So there's...
What's her salary, Tom, do you know? Offhand.
I'm going to say mid to upper 30s, but I could look that up for you.
Is that what it was? Yeah, could you get that for me? And was that what it was at the parking?
Yeah, it was carried over. I believe she's also impacted for a 3% raise.
Oh, she's part of the 3% group.
Well, I think she's going to end up in the union, probably.
May I?
So she'll be part of the contractual the CBA agreement.
Is she full-time or part-time?
Full-time.
You don't have to do it now, Tom, but maybe email me her old salary from the parking and her new salary. Could you send that to all of us?
Yeah, I already did, but I could send it again.
Yeah, please.
Or I could just give it to you now, whatever. you
Okay, go
prefer.
ahead. Yeah, if you have it, that'd be fine. That's good if it's...
Hang on, there's a lot of papers flying around.
Is she taking the person that left, is she taking the spot?
No, that position is still budgeted as an open position.
Well, Joe, why couldn't we move her into that spot that's open?
She is still controlling parking. She will be doing parking. She's going to take over rental registration. And what was the other one? And the sign permits. So she has all of that.
Well, who was doing that before, Joe?
Nobody. Janet was doing rental registration.
Okay, back to salary, she's budgeted for $33,280 for 2015. Again, that reflects our coming overs, our current salary plus 3%. And there's an effort to consolidate all related parking, handicapped, rental registration, to get that all on the main floor so people don't have to parade through the building. There's a one-stop shop at the windows downstairs.
Tom, how many people are with the 3% raises? How many people are there?
Well, do you mean non-CBA people?
No, anybody. The 3% is...
Who's receiving the 3%?
3% could be, again, part of collective bargaining agreements that are impacted 3% also. Do you mean
I don't think
people
you
that
want
aren't
that.
a party?
I don't think you want that. I think that the question really should be, how many people are not union people in the 3 collective bargaining units that are receiving the 3% increase?
You kind of crossed over there when you said not in, but in the collective bar.
No,
so
no, no.
you-
I'm saying not in the collective bargaining unit, Tom.
Okay,
That
non-collective bargaining agreement people would generally be your management, so it'd be
Right.
myself, Frank Vito, the chief, obviously we have Fallon downstairs, we have the individual at the airport, mayor secretary, Lisa's not part of the bargaining unit, so that pretty much covers most of it.
So really, we're talking about 7 people?
Yeah, and then you have some part-timers like, the supervisor and code and whatever other part-time employees. Some of the code officers are part-time.
I've got another question, but you know what? This young lady up here is standing here with some questions, and I'd really like to wait, but go ahead.
The parking employee, only because the parking employees lived by me for years. Lita lived next door and lived down the street. The hours for the parking employee was always 8 to 12. When did this become full-time? You have to realize, I mean, Ann down the street and Lita Burkhart, they worked this job. It was 8 to 12. When did this become full-time?
Years ago. How many years ago was that?
That I can't answer.
Not
How many
that
years
long.
ago? Lita Burkhart.
But then Ann
That
took
may
over.
be 10 years ago.
Then Ann took over. When did it become? That's the
Well,
question. When did it become
exactly.
full-time?
I don't know exactly when, but it's been full-time for quite a while.
For what reasons?
She's the only employee
Well, they had a full-time director.
in the parking authority.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had
What
a
did Mr. Sharp do?
Yeah. They had a director, and they had, in the last year, they haven't had a director.
That didn't answer the question.
I know.
What did the director do?
Everything that has to be done in management and parking.
And but the question would
So
be,
with the last year, we didn't have one.
description
She
for
was
that.
actually the acting director.
And when did that
Since
transpire?
Since Ralph went to the transit.
No.
Okay, then she was
No.
made full-time at that point.
No, she was full-time prior to that.
And for how long?
I have no idea how long.
You have no idea. Could you find out
We can
for
check,
me?
Tom, you can check on that.
Could you find
for us.
out for me how long
And
she's
get it
been
to me.
full-time?
Thank you, Chris. Go ahead.
You know what, Tom, I've got a question, especially with this. The
We're
person
still in the
moving
comment
over.
period for,
Right.
Okay, I'll wait.
I mean, this isn't,
I'll wait.
Okay,
Not
any
a
other
problem.
comments? Go ahead, sir.
My name is Gene Babula. I'm in Hazleton. The increase that's about to happen, hopefully not. I'm hearing everybody's getting a 3% raise. This is across the board for...
That's what the mayor's proposing, Gene. That's not what he's getting.
Okay. Well, I'm on disability. I get a 1.7. So I don't get the big money like you do and everybody else around here.
We don't make the big money. We get $3,850. That's the big money.
My hand went that way.
Okay, that's okay.
And then I'm looking at the numbers. We're getting a $20,000 raise for 2015. I would like to see where that is legitimate. Prove me that you deserve 20 grand plus what you're getting now. When this city is in the hole, how much? And it's just a lot of common sense that's just flushed down the toilet, man. None of you people are using your heads. I want. Well, I would like to have a lot too. Am I getting it? No. So I can't. And then I heard the comment mentioned on the news, people making up excuses that they're going to lose their house, and that's not fiction, man. That's fact. Okay, because look around. I don't know. I drive around the same town you people do, and I see for sale signs up everywhere, and I still see potholes. You got to dodge them. You know, if you get pulled over, first thing you're asked, are you drinking? No, I'm trying to avoid the craters in these streets. So,
Yeah. Well, we got a machine that's going to do a lot of work in the winter and hopefully fix a lot of that problem, Gene.
oh, that'd be swell.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Janet Tucker, and I live in Hazleton, and I work for the city of Hazleton. Mr. Mundy said in the paper on Sunday that he would rather stick a needle in his eye than pay 26%.
Yep.
We'd rather stick a needle in our eye than pay 26% also. However, I have yet to hear from anybody other than maybe one or two smaller ideas. Where do we come up with the money to pay the bills we have to pay? Everybody, I don't want this, I don't want that. Reminds me of my grandchild. I don't want to play like this. It's great. I don't want to pay my PP&L raised bill. I don't want to pay my gas raised bill. I don't want to pay my city tax raised bill. But until people work together and come up with legitimate forms of revenue, which doesn't necessarily mean cutting somebody else's salary to make revenue. That's not making revenue. That's cutting salary. It's two different things. Until you come up with a joint effort from all parties to raise revenue, then tax is the only alternative. People suggested, let's do a city tax. Great idea. Let's put a city tax on everything. But you can't, because the state won't let you. So that's not a good idea. Might be an idea, but it isn't an idea that can work. So we need to come up with other forms of revenue. You don't want to do the stormwater fee. Great. What are you going to do instead to maintain the stormwaters? Where are you going to get the money? I'm with everybody else. I don't want to pay 26% either. I'm working 2 jobs. I help my daughter and her children. I don't have a great way to come up with revenue, though. And until people work together, we're not going to find a way. And I would also like to point out, you're talking about big bucks and raises and this person gets 3%. There are a lot of people who work, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, really, really hard and dedicated for this city who do not earn nearly what they could earn out on the open market, but they're dedicated to their city, their citizens, the ideals that we're all trying to maintain. And I think, you say, oh, a 3% raise. Well, he's not entitled to a 3% raise, or he's not. Well, who are you to decide? You don't know how hard these people work. You have no idea. I do. I come here, I work, I see them. How much do you think I'm making? 20, 30 bucks an hour? I don't think so. More like 11. Could I make more elsewhere? Yes. Is this my choice to do what I do for this price? Yes. But not everybody's in that situation. I'm one of the lucky ones. So when you talk about 3%, I want to make it very clear, because I think I get it, but maybe I don't, so I want everybody else to get it. 3% does not mean everybody. Doesn't mean for everybody. I believe it means only for non-union employees. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Only non-union. So your police we're not talking about your police, your active police, or your active firemen, or your active highway people, or your active office workers. We're only talking about non-union, some of which are administrative office workers that are non-union. They might get a 3% raise. I just wish everybody would make sure that they get everything very clear about what we're talking about before you're nudging people off or saying we can't do this. Nobody wants to pay tax. Let's find a way to make revenue, create revenue. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments for what's on the agenda? You could comment later on anything. Okay, we'll move on to ordinances, none, resolutions. Resolution 2014-112, sale of 2014 tax claims. It was tabled on 11/5/14.
I'll motion to take it off the table.
I'll second it.
On the motion to take it off the table, roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Okay, it's off the table. Do you want to?
I'll motion to present it.
I'll second it. On the question? Tom, I know we would make out better in the long run if we didn't do this, but I think the city needs the money now, and to wait for it would hurt the city. Is that true?
Well, in the interim, yes, and I'd like to kind of answer Mr.
Yeah,
Rainbow's
go ahead.
question.
You can answer his question if you want.
Because we sort of ran him into the ground someplace. I don't know. Nobody answered his question. Some of the points you made were very valid. However, I didn't go to the Redevelopment Authority, any kind of meeting, or asked for any meeting to do anything related to this. I think, and some of absolutely you're right. Some of the numbers kind of don't make sense, and they're not my numbers, so I'm not sure where they came from. But traditionally, poor performing municipalities, as I was when I was with the county, if you do not maintain a healthy balance sheet and have approximately 10 to 15% of your ongoing revenue as a fund balance, so that means the city of Hazleton should have at least $900,000 to $1.2 million, and if you want to call it a reserve or what have you, for cash flow purposes, just like Mr. Raybould pointed out. When you don't have that, you need to find alternative ways to fund that. Now, if we commit the same sins of the past and we don't get our audits done on time, which we've just completed our second one within the last couple of months, you need to get them done at least by the end of September. If that's done on time, this cash flow we should be able to get by February. So it alleviates going out trying to find a tax anticipation note, which you'll pay interest on. So you either pay this up front or you pay it later. If we have a healthy balance, like good financially sound cities, we will not have to do it. And in the long run, you will reap the benefits of it as we go down the road. Unfortunately, I can foresee that for 2016. But again, December 2nd, we should be presenting the or the auditor should be presenting the auditor for your approval. If that gets passed and is issued, and again, we're able to draw down on that money, say February, it's an important cash flow benefit to the city because we are not a healthy, financially sound board.
Okay, Tom, what you're saying, should we wait on this, or you think it's...
I'm sorry?
Should we wait before we rule on this?
No,
or
no,
You're in agreement that we should...
Again, I think we need it for cash flow
We need to
purposes
sell it.
for
Okay,
15.
for the city. So this
Again,
is-
if we don't pass a sound budget
this is-
for 15, you might want to continue doing it going forward.
We may have to do it further
Well,
on.
we'd have a whole nother year to worry about that.
Well, yeah, but you don't worry about it when the horse is out of the barn. You worry about it now. You have to get your ducks in a row now so
Okay.
you can alleviate that problem in the
So
future. If
you're recommending that we sell our...
I would say at this point in time, it's
Okay.
probably beneficial, yes.
Thank you.
And until we get on solid footing financially and have a nice little cushion that we can count on,
Yeah, and it's not a cushion. Again, it's a cash flow. I mean, you have to understand that when you deal in finances, you have three major financial statements. You have an income statement, you have a income revenue statement, or income and expense, you got your balance sheet, you got your cash flow. Whether it's business or municipality, cash flow is kind of king. So if you can't meet your cash flow requirements, it doesn't matter when the revenue's coming in, because you're going to have a problem with cash flow.
Exactly.
And again, when we talk about revenue, you could be as creative as you want, but what you need, what a municipality needs, is predictable, recurring revenue. So if you think you're going to go out, and I agree with you, they may not be enforcing a lot of code, whatever, but again, you have to, it's kind of like a shampoo bottle, wash your hair, rinse and repeat. If you can't deliver predictable recurring revenue, you're going to have consistent financial problems.
I agree.
Any other questions? Jeff, you want to ask any questions?
I'm totally against selling it, but I think it's a bad idea to sell it. But I understand we need money right away, but I still look for long term. I think it's better off we don't. But
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call?
Bast,
yes.
Cassatt,
No.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next, new business for resolutions, ordinances, ordinance 2014-19, modifying consolidated plans for CDBG program years 2010, 12, and 13, first reading.
I'll present.
Second. Is Fallon here? Fallon, could you come up? Maybe if anybody has any questions. Does anybody have any questions for Fallon? Okay.
We're good?
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next is Resolution 2014-20, an ordinance providing for the appropriation of specific amounts estimated as required for the various departments of the government of the City of Hazleton, Luzerne County, Pennsylvania, for and during the fiscal year dating from January 1st, 2015 and ending December 31st, 2015. The budget, first reading.
I'll present.
Second. On the question?
We're going to talk about a couple of the items.
Go ahead.
I guess I'll have to make the First Amendment. I'd like to take out the 1 mil safety tax. Okay.
I'll second that. Any other questions on that?
Yeah, we'll have to vote on the amendment first. if you want to do that, what you're
Yeah,
going to do
and
is
then I
take.
think
I would
we'll-
rather discuss first before
Okay.
and if we can.
Yeah, we have
And
time,
if
but-
there are any other amendments, then just take them one by one after.
But we're going to have other amendments
Yeah,
before this,
I
the
really
next
do.
other readings.
Okay, I do have a couple questions that we had problems with from last time, Tom, that I really would kind of like to clear on.
Okay.
We can do each amendment separate? I would just,
Well, you know what, if we vote on them right now.
no, just do that
you
one.
want-
Let's
you
just do
want-
one
I
at a time.
think for,
I'm
for
more than
now,
happy
this
to
one,
vote on it.
Get that.
and then we'll have some questions. Yeah,
That's
on
fine.
the
Go ahead.
let's vote on the amendment. Roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Back on the question, Dr. Sosa, you wanted to ask
Okay,
questions?
yeah, Tom, a couple of things that we were looking at on the budget the last time on out during a work session. And I'm looking under highways and streets.
I'm sorry?
Highways and streets,
Department 430?
parking garage fees. And it's reading $249,000.
What page you're
And
on, Dave?
We didn't get that answered. I'm on page 4 of page 23 pages. Highways and streets.
Okay.
363-3212. And we had trouble with that last time on out because the parking garage is getting rented on out. I know that I guess that contract is wherever it is at this point, but that doesn't amount to $249,000. It amounts to, the way I figured it, somewhere between $80,000 to $90,000.
Yeah, and that's spread out on a separate line item above. Actually, in the $249,000, if you look at the P&L from the Parking Authority for 2013, they brought in approximately $250,000 in gross revenues from all the parking facilities. That plus the $80,000 to $90,000 additional from the leasing takes you up to about $330,000. We might be a little aggressive there, but there's also some discussion about increasing fees, increasing meter fees, as well as the increased activity back in the city with meters and parking facilities after the construction work has been completed. So it is based on approximately $250,000, which was in the P&L for the Parking Authority.
Okay, so it's really kind of assumed income rather than actual
Majority of
expected.
it is cast in history,
Okay.
but there are some assumptions, again about increased activity. It might be a tad aggressive, and I think there's a delay in the completion of the remodeling of the parking facility, which also might delay the additional income or the reservation. There's also, again, what you got to impact, and it's kind of hard to estimate that, but I'm under the assumption that this agreement, they'll pretty much take over all of their maintenance and expenses. So when you factor in the revenue and the expenses, I think we're in the ballpark, as long as it's not delayed again, that they can't occupy the facility.
Okay. What I would suggest, I'm sorry, Jeff, just one second. What I would suggest on that, and this is the kind of item, and I know that I've read in the newspapers that you want to try to get a better handle on budgets and the numbers and everything on else to get a healthier budget for next year. This is part of, I think, where a narrative would come on in handy to explain some of this, because with the number just as is, it was a little bit unclear. So a narrative would help us on out here. Now, none of those parking meters are you talking about, and that'll have to come to council for any increase in parking meters. None of that was part of Pango, right? Because that was defeated.
No, Pango was a service that allowed people to utilize, an electronic media for parking meters. Not to my, I wasn't involved with that a lot, but not to my knowledge would that generate any increased fees. Again, it would be simply a convenience. For instance, if you're running long at a meeting or if you're running long at a restaurant and you don't want to run down the block to put money in the meter, you can, increase your time electronically. I think it's a supplement. It's not a replacement.
What it was an option.
Yeah,
Just an option.
I'm just asking if it was part of
But-
what was involved
But
in this, that's all.
experience was Scranton and other cities that have taken it have increased their income.
Yeah, and, you know, we bantered that one around, and I'm not ready to go there anymore. I was just asking if it was involved in it. You know, we've thrown, go ahead.
Are you still on parking?
Still on parking, go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
Now, the parking garage, now, you said the profit loss statement from the audit, from the parking authority. Wouldn't that all be jumbled in? Like this 80,000 monthly parking wasn't additional that the city brought in also. Like that 80,000 that's in here, that 250 was comprised of their parking meters, their garage spaces, their monthly parking, and their daily from all. So these other two numbers are being double counted. The parking garage itself could only generate 90,000 according to the new contract or the new lease agreement.
I'm not exactly sure they're double counted. Actually, Debbie from the parking authority was supposed to do some verification of numbers for me. So I don't propose to know every but I'm just looking at my rationale with, you know, again.
I took the last 5 audits. The average daily parking space plus meters came out to about 75,000 total. Their monthly passes for non-garage came out to 82. And then the garage itself would be a total of 90. And that would add up to 247, which was where I kind of figured you got your number from. But that would be double counting, because the city never collected monthly parking prior to this.
I could go back and check the numbers. Like I said, I had asked Debbie to, you know, verify the rationale behind it. I'm not real familiar with every space or parking authority. I'm looking at raw numbers, nor am I familiar with the exact arrangement in that agreement.
And if you can get those to us, that'd be fine.
I just, because the lease itself is 90,000. It's 250 spots at $30. 7,500 is 90,000. So
is that the complete garage?
Yes, that's the complete garage. So that would be maxed out. That line item has to be maxed out at 90,000. If they're renting the entire building, no matter what, they're going to give us 90,000. So that number there has to be.
Well, again, the number above the 81 was the assumption for the additional revenue. So if something has to be adjusted, it will. But again, I try to rely on the experts in a particular department to do a sanity check on specific numbers, of which I have reached out, and I'm still waiting on an answer. Okay. So if that needs to be adjusted down, it will.
I think 363, 3212 should be the contract with the DHD, and that would be 90,000. So that would drop it by 133,000.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll verify it.
Okay. That's one of the main concerns would be that. I mean, we won't.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I don't like to do is overestimate revenue, because if it doesn't come in, it's a problem. So if that's the case, I have no problem adjusting it down.
If she doesn't, I have the last 5 audits. If she doesn't get them to you, then I could drop them off for you.
Okay.
Also, this may be early. We did it last week. We asked the mayor. I don't know if anything has changed in a week, but are we looking at the possibility of a tax anticipation note for this year as of yet, or is it too early to be able to indicate that?
Well, you would need to solicit or advertise for it pretty soon. I'm not assuming, again, our discussion on selling the delinquent tax claims, you know, is another means of funding or bridging that gap, which I'm not anticipate needing a TRAN or a TAN at this point in time.
Okay.
I have a question in regards to that.
Go ahead.
The sewer transmission money that you said has been being utilized right now, and it will be replaced. Is that what we're hoping to use as the tax, in place of a tax anticipation note?
Well, we've used it this year already for cash flow challenges. It doesn't necessarily have to be replaced, because in consultation with the auditors, they kind of confirmed with what I had thought. We're no longer in that business, so it does not need to be isolated because we don't perform sewer work. So we're utilizing it as a cash flow mechanism. But
Excuse me if I interrupt you. It was collected from the
That's correct, but we're no longer in that business.
Yeah, I understand that, but the money was collected from the people, all right, for that specific purpose. And I believe that's what it was supposed to be utilized for, even though we're no longer in the business.
Well, again, it's back fees, and if you don't have sewers to maintain, it then does revert back to the general fund.
Okay. The only other thing right now, Tom, that I want to bring on up was brought up probably by the audience already anyway. But how do we give what looks to be like about a $15,000 raise to a new airport manager at this point, and make it somewhere around $39,000, almost $40,000 with health care and all kinds of stuff, and it's all of a sudden now the full-time job, when the gentleman before that was making something in the order of $22,000. How do we justify that?
I'm going to jump
How do we
in here.
justify that to the people?
Can I ask a question first?
Well, maybe Joe could answer that.
Is it true that he's getting a 5% raise now, prior to a 3% raise for 2015?
Yes.
That's, and you know, and now, it came out here before, and to the gentleman who's on disability, and I think it's important for this to be noted as well. There are people who are on disability receiving a 1.7% increase this year. And Social Security announced this year, and I said this last time, Social Security this year, because of the cost of living, are getting a 1.2% increase. That's all they're getting. And we're turning around and we're going to say to people 3%, because that's what it's going to be. Because everybody here, and you know what, now we're tossing around terms. And no, is $33,000 the highest salary in the world? No, but it's a lot higher than what the average person in Hazleton is making. Per capita, you check basic facts. It's right on the internet. It comes out of the census report every year. The average person per capita in Hazleton is earning $22,017. And we're talking about talking about 3% increase.
Just a minute. Doing what?
Doing everything. That's the average salary.
This gentleman
Joe, it's the average salary. It's $22,017, for God's sake.
The airport administrator or airport manager, I'm sorry, he's highly experienced in aviation.
Wonderful. I have 44 years in teaching experience.
He comes with a lot of qualifications.
Wonderful.
Go ahead, Joe.
Wonderful. That's still too much.
Joe, but the last, just if you're done, the last guy you hired had no experience.
Right.
And you hired him.
That's
and
right.
I told you that was a mistake.
Well, it wasn't at the time.
To train him.
It wasn't at the time. He carried us to his extent, and we moved on.
Is this another Dominic?
We are a better airport right now, and we brought in a guy who has airport experience, who has turned that place around.
Okay, without getting into the major debate, the airport manager is hired at a 33% higher salary than the one he replaced 6 months ago. Am I correct?
Correct.
And he has received a 5% increase. So now he has a 40% salary higher than the man that we had hired previously.
Right.
All right. And the man we hired previously, we sent to school for training, and
We
then
did.
he's no longer with us.
Right.
And you're content with that?
I'm content with that, yes.
And then he gets a 3%.
The gentleman is a highly qualified person with great credentials. I mean, if a person can't earn money because he's qualified.
Did you advertise, Joe? Did you advertise this position, or was this a Dominic pick? Did you advertise it?
No answer.
Well,
Well, why do you have to put Dominic in this?
well, Dominic picked your last guy.
Picks
I just
the
thought maybe he's
airport.
picking all of them.
Okay. Whatever you want.
So you didn't advertise or anything?
No, we did not. The opportunity came up. We
Okay.
interviewed him. He's a manager.
And I agree with
he's
you.
A choice.
He's highly qualified, and
Choice.
and I think he's probably doing a good job there.
He is doing a good job. I know he is. Place is turned around. We've been collecting money from rentals that we never did before. So he's well worth his money. And if I think, what is it, $38,000 an awful lot of money? I don't know. It's a big responsibility.
Well, you didn't think so when you hired the first guy.
Right. He was well supervised.
I know.
As long
Okay.
as we're on the
Okay, let's move, yeah.
I would like to ask a question about hanger
Supervised by
loan
Dominic at 120 an hour.
Hanger loan, yes.
Go ahead, go ahead.
We bought a hanger
We bought it. When did we buy it?
last year.
A year and a half ago,
I thought we,
Is it a year and a half?
something like that.
that was
Probably
a leasing purchase.
At least a
Can't
year.
remember. It's about a year. Over.
I think we voted no on it, Gene. I think they did buy it. They bought, that's the Graham one, Joe?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
We had a customer who flies his jet in, who will not leave it out in the open, who wanted it in shelter and was willing to pay for it. And with that and some other rentals that we got, we were paying for the hangar.
Okay, I wasn't sure, because I thought we were only doing a lease purchase. I didn't remember that it was purchased. Okay.
I think the second one's a lease purchase.
Yeah, the second one.
So this loan payment of $15,000 is just for the one hanger,
I'm not sure
loan repayment?
on that one. We do own two hangars, though. One is leased by Lehigh Valley, Medevac.
Oh, that's the one for the medevac, yeah.
While we're at the airport, the contracted services up there, is that for a project or? 'Cause I got a phone call this week about people that were volunteering their help for the last 15 years were plowing and maintaining the thing. We're told not to come around.
Yeah.
So is that contracted services to for snow plowing?
Mainly because they were harder on the equipment than they were worth hiring.
But is that what the contracted service is for?
I imagine that's probably it. Yeah, I'm not definitely sure.
What's contracted services
We only,
engineer? Contracted services engineer. We have an engineer for the airport.
There's some fees from Benish that get charged there.
Are all of them in there?
there's also contracted service, which is Delta. They're consulting engineers. They're engineers.
Wasn't most of the repairs and all that in the terminal? I thought a lot of that, if I remember correctly, some pictures in the newspaper being done by students from the Career Center. Is there costs that's going on with this? Is it engineering costs? Is it materials? Is it what?
No.
I know, are the kids still doing it?
Kids were in there for demolition. They demolished the place, took it, gutted it, took all the wall coverings off, drywall, whatever it was, took the ceilings down. They did all of that. They actually did a little revamping of the heat, but otherwise that was their job, and it was a tedious job, and they did it and did it well.
And you know what? I would strongly encourage. I've seen the kids down at the Career Center build homes.
Yeah.
If you want the terminal repaired and you want to do it for free, I would contact the good people in the Hazleton Area School District and ask them to draw up some designs and to use that as a project, because that's a wonderful project and they can use that on resume and everything else.
Right.
Now you can show your work. Here's what I did. That would be wonderful.
We had the total repair of the pilot lounge was donated. So to save some of the money and utilize it elsewhere, we had them come in and gut the place. And that was their portion of the job. They gutted everything, and now this contractor is now installing the finishing touches. It was designed by, through the generosity of the D'Angelo's, sent their designer in and gave us a design. So we have a design, we have a contractor doing it, we utilized the kids as much as we possibly could, and they're back there working this week.
The contractor is Joe's back.
Contractor. Mhm.
I know, I was there a couple months ago, and it
It was-
needed a lot of work. It was a mess.
Yeah, it was,
Hopefully that'll get done.
yeah, it's, when you're a beggar, you can't put a time.
Yeah.
He does it at his time, when he has time, and it's not costing us any money.
Whenever he has time and material, it can get done. I have another question about the sewer transmission fund expenses on page 20. Maintain, repair pump station, 15,000. We don't own any pump stations. They're all turned over to the sewer authority.
You are absolutely right, and that probably is an error. The actual expenses that appear in that line item was for some direct energy cost because a contract was not canceled appropriately when the sewer project went from the city over to the authority. So I think you're absolutely right on that. Probably there is nothing to maintain.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm missing 20.
On page 20.
That's why no, I'm missing 20. That's why I couldn't find it. That's okay.
Do you want one?
No.
We could,
Look in your budget, your skull.
No, I took it out. I took it out.
You took it out and you stapled it there.
Yeah,
Well, it's in the agenda.
yeah, I got it.
Oh, it's in the agenda? From last week? Oh, this week's, it's in there too? Oh, yeah, John, there's one on our agenda.
No, I have the one on the agenda, but it's missing page 20, but that's okay.
Okay, now we're
That's okay.
still with the stormwater, all right? I see that they're
Oh, it is.
transferring 300,000, same page, to wages, is that correct? Is that from what year? 2013?
Well, this is the 2015 budget, so this is projected reimbursement for 2015 if we continue the stormwater program. So we will bill 15, but they'll be for the 14 fees since we billed 13 fees in 2014. So that would be going forward to reimburse applicable salaries regarding the maintenance of stormwater.
That means we would have to pass the stormwater fee.
That is factored into the 15 budget. Again,
But
that
we would need to pass it.
Correct.
Before the budget passes.
Correct.
Yeah, you've
To
got
be
to,
fully funded, it has to be passed before this could be funded.
It's called anticipated fund.
Well, you can't. You have to have a fully funded budget before you pass on the third reading.
No,
EIT
you-
coming in, and
yeah.
you know it's coming in, so.
but you've got a problem.
We're not sure if it's coming in.
You've got a problem with that, though, because it was passed originally with a resolution. Now, a resolution allows you to pass a one-time tax, but it does not allow you to pass one that's on a yearly basis, continual, year after year, which means that you're going to have to do that if you expect to try to even do this. A stormwater ordinance is going to have to be called for, not a resolution. Because the law won't allow that for a continual year by year passage, not under resolution anyway. So you're going to have to change that. It was questionable even the last time that you passed it in 2013, that it was passed under resolution, but the excuse was at that time it was a one-shot deal. Now it's not turning into a one-shot deal. It's turning into a year by year. So you got a problem. You've got a problem with that. You have to change. You've got to change it from a resolution to an ordinance. It's the only other way you can do it.
We know that.
You know that?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you pass it by resolution?
Well, I didn't pass it by anything.
Oh, okay. No, you're. I won't.
That was-
you know what? There's a shot
was
there,
the
but I won't
previous-
take it.
Yeah, and
I
I
won't
don't-
take it, Joe.
and
I
I
won't
don't-
take it.
I'm not-
But
I don't
it was
have the-
passed, It was passed in 2013,
Yeah, but I don't have any information in front of me.
and I'm.
How can you implement a tax by resolution?
Well, that was just it, but it was passed by
I
resolution.
don't think we did.
You passed it by resolution.
I think the
And I
resolution
will-
was for something else. It was
I think you will find that it was
something.
passed by resolution,
Okay.
and I won't get into an argument about it because
Uh-huh.
right now
I think the amount-
it's problematic. But right now, you're going to have to do it
Well,
by ordinance.
If it was
and
passed by
it becomes
resolution
a
or
real
passed by
serious
ordinance, it was
problem.
only for 13 or 14. Wasn't for 14, it was only for 13, so it's obsolete anyway.
It's more obsolete than you think, but that's a different story.
It's done anyway. I
Yeah.
mean. So you
Okay.
have to,
Let's
when
move
you
on
do
then.
this, you have to introduce an ordinance.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you about the real estate tax. What assessed value or are you going off of?
Well, it kind of does, that's kind of a moot point because I'm going off of collections, but the assessed value, if it helps you out,
Is it
the certified assessed value as of the 11/5, taxable properties, 998,121,400.
Isn't it the percentage?
998?
998, 121, 400, and then there's another 58.8, which is really taxable. Probably want to combine those. So 998,
So it went down again.
179.
So we lost another $8 million in assessed value.
I don't have that comparison right now, but I'm just, I'm looking at what was certified and sent to me on 11/5
On 11/5,
from the
okay,
county.
Okay.
Now, are you looking at those specific items, or are you looking at gross? Because there's,
I was looking at the assessed value from last year, and I used 88%.
which assessed value, though? The bottom line?
I
or-
used last year's, the one that was certified last year, which
Okay,
was
but when it's certified, there's a breakout, and it's by code 023579. The other ones are like land, mines, such that aren't fully taxable. So are you using the taxable, using the exempt piece, or?
no. I think I got the 1,000,000,006,000,000 number is what I used.
Yes, if you're looking at the bottom line, 9,870 properties, there's some values that are in there that are either mine land or exempt properties that really don't figure into the taxable.
That was the higher. That's the higher one. Did that come out to like 1.1?
I got 1,131,309,600.
Okay, I didn't use that number. No.
Yeah, so you can't base out because some of them aren't taxable.
Okay. And are you going with like a percentage rate, or are you just going off of prior year?
I'm going off historical collections. 2013, 2014 had the same tax base, had the same millage, so we're consistently collecting, $2,000,008, close to $2,000,009. If we increase it 4% for the general fund purposes, 0.16 mils, that generates about $116,000 of additional collections, not billables, because I don't care what we bill, I need the cash in the bank.
Sure.
So that gives us about $3,016,000 for 2015. Obviously, I erred on the little bit of a lesser side because of possible uncollectible. So that's where that $3,003,000 came from.
Okay.
I mean, you have to realize too when you're figuring collections. I don't know, you got 70-some% or whatever that pay with the 2% discount. You got another maybe 12-15% pay base. You have 10-12% or whatever that pay 10% penalty by the end of the year. So you got to factor in all of those. You got kind of a weighted average of 3 different collection tranches per se in order to calculate what the actual collections are.
They stay pretty regular, don't they?
Yeah.
Year by year?
I'm sorry?
They stay pretty regular year by year, what you can anticipate people using as the discount, people paying regular. and all.
Absolutely. We collect about 88% of gross bills, so our net receipts are about 88% of what we actually bill, and you're absolutely right. It's
Right.
consistent. It's the same individuals. They, 70-some% pay within the discount period and, 10-12% within base.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I have a quick question, Tom. On the police overtime, we have, I guess we have 165 up to, it's page 10. I guess you have 165 up till now. I guess for the budget, you have 205,000. Do we expect that's what it's going to be? It's going to be close to 200 for 14?
Well, based on history, and if you look at the, how we ended up some of the other years, it does equate, or it does estimate up to near $200,000. Now, some of the previous years were even a little higher.
Yeah.
But somehow we did additional work, whether it was community development reimbursed or, high risk.
Joe, is a lot of that more patrolman overtime or detectives, or how, do you know how it's divided?
It's probably more detectives.
Yeah.
There's some patrolmen in there, but every
I-
time there's a crime, and the detectives have to be
Yeah,
called out.
I know,
and that's,
and sometimes, I know a lot of, I was down Joe Zola's office in the summer and
Mm-hmm.
talking to the officers there, I guess what they were telling me is a big chunk of their time, they prisoner transport to Wilkes-Barre, which is like, what, 2 hours? When you
yes,
do that?
round trip, I guess it is, yeah, and that's patrolman.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
patrolman, okay. I
Right. Mm-hmm.
know he said that was a big part of his job to transport prisoners, because we have to take them to,
To Luzerne County, when they can't afford the bail or something like that,
Yeah.
when they get charged, we have to take them right up to the prison, so, yes, there's transportation.
Did the chief make any suggestions on how we could lower that, or would part-time policemen lower that?
Would part-time police,
Yeah.
any help would
Ye-
help lower that, but how much and by
Yeah,
what, I don't know.
I'm just saying, did the chief have any?
That's one of the keys to the whole thing, is to lower
Yeah.
overtime, because, I mean, these guys are getting a lot of overtime, but they're also
I mean,
physically
10
and mentally abused.
10 part-time police at $15 an hour, 30 hours a week would be $234,000 a year. If you could spend that instead of the overtime, that's the overtime. 200,000 is the overtime. If you could cut that down, whatever percentage, that could pay for some of the part-time policemen that we would like to see hired.
Right.
Okay, just maybe the chief, you could direct him if he has any ideas of cutting overtime, some ideas?
We can't cut overtime considerably the way we are now.
Yeah, well,
Short
because
end.
we're short, I understand, Joe, I
Okay.
understand. But how about I know a couple of years ago it came up about using constables.
Constables, yeah.
To do, now, I'm not saying they're not going to arrest people, but
They,
to transport a prisoner, that might save us some money and keep a person here.
And they're under the insurance umbrella of the city.
Right. The only problem, I guess, with that I can see off the bat is like, you arrest somebody, you take him up there, he doesn't have the bail, he's got to go to prison now.
Yeah.
Do we have somebody
Well,
available?
I know the
on
constables are
call?
always on call, Joe. They're always
Yeah.
available. I
No.
mean, you know.
That's what you'd have to- you'd have to
Joe
try and
Zola
set
needs
up.
constables constantly, and there's a whole
Yeah,
pool of them.
he uses constables for
Joe, I'm
serving.
just thinking about things out of the box, and we
No,
have to
no,
start
I'm
thinking
not
about
arguing
that.
with you.
I'm not.
arguing with you. I'm just saying he uses them for serving warrants.
Yeah,
or-
I know, but some of them have Act 120. They're just, they have as much training as some policemen. Not maybe, and some of them are in the business 20, 30 years. I know,
Yeah,
you know.
constable's a long time.
Okay. Go ahead. Any other questions?
I got a,
Go ahead, Jeff.
buildings and plant at Department 409. There's a, I don't know, mine's different.
Okay.
It's the Department 409.
9.
You said that there's going to be additional employees in that department.
Yeah, I have a question, Jeff. The new guy that's coming in, what's he coming in at? Our new guy that they're hiring from the parking. Do you know that, Frank? What his new salary is?
They're whatever they were paid in the parking authority, they're just transferring over. One's going highway, not highway, no. He's going. The two are going into the city hall, non-union. But one will be under the direction
What's
of
that, Joe? What are the two guys coming into City Hall? What are they doing?
the meter and the maintenance are coming in to the city hall and union, and they're going to be under the direction of the police chief and Frank.
What are they going to do, those two guys?
They maintain the properties of the parking. We have several parking lots. We have all the meters. We have all the permitted parking spaces.
Well, I
So,
thought the guy from the highway I thought was going to do that. He's not going to do that.
No, he's going. The maintenance man that does it is going with them.
What's that?
Danny. The guy's name is Danny. Hmm.
So where is he getting paid out of city hall?
That's what I'm at.
And he was full-time or part-time?
He was full-time.
He was full-time.
Paid out of your department or City Hall's?
He's going into City Hall's
He's
department?
he's in the building and grounds department. He's going
Right.
to perform maintenance. There's two other people there. Hopefully Frank could utilize them in all the building and grounds areas, whether it be the parks, whether it be
And
around
what's his salary? You have that, Tom?
33,280.
And that's what he was making before? Okay.
Mhm.
Hmm? He was making that. Wouldn't he have to come to, once he's in the union, he'd make it a higher rate, or once he's in the union? Oh, okay.
It's not the highway.
And that's part of the.
That's where the other two maintenance people are that maintain the grounds. They're in the City Hall.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. Go ahead, Jeff.
Again,
Sorry.
back to you, Jeff. That does include him full-time, so that's the increase in salary. And at this point in time, until whatever shakes out, the two part-time people that are collecting fees, whatever, for the garage. So that's.
They're still here too. The two part-timers came over also.
Yeah, I mean, that department, 409, building and grounds, building and plan or whatever, we're going to have to do some work on that going forward, because that's kind of the dumping ground for a lot of stuff. We don't really know what the police department costs. We really don't know what the fire department costs. There's things buried in plants. I mean, are buildings and plants or building and grounds. All cell phones run through there. There's a lot of nonsense that needs to be separated out going into the future.
Well,
Can't be done right now.
Couldn't you separate them, Tom?
Well, it can't be done right now, but we need to start classifying things where they belong so we're able to manage the finances the right way. So you might see line items going over budget, but I'd much prefer to classify things where they really belong.
I agree with
instead of burying them.
I agree with you.
So we really don't know what the police department costs us
All
because
our
there's a lot of numbers
cell
in there.
phones are under one item, so we got to break it up into who's who
That was
and
the one we
charge it to
talked
the right
about.
department.
We
But
talked about that
right
with-
now, we have other
Joe, we talked
pressing
about that
items.
with communications last time.
You need to drive back the expenses to where they belong, otherwise you really can't manage a
We
department.
need clarification, and that's one of the reasons that he even brought up, and we asked last year, for an explanation on the side, because we're guessing, okay? We don't know, just like you don't know, and you're just trying to.
Tom, as far as you saying the breakdown of I've been saying that for the last 5 years, to do that. I 3 or 4 years ago, I brought Lancaster budget and said, this is the way we should be doing our budgets, which was a great budget, an excellent budget.
Yeah, again, it's not necessarily increasing your line items, because again, with minimal staff, that kind of increases the burden, but yeah, I mean, or just because you have budget numbers doesn't mean you can stick, weapons in contracted services or something. I mean, you really need to have a uniform chart of accounts. You need to manage that uniform chart of accounts properly. I mean, garbage in, garbage out. You can't manage finances without having the appropriate detail to do that, and you're limited, again, by garbage in, garbage out kind of information.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions?
I want to ask one more here. The professional services, Department 404, if that's where the new solicitor is going to be placed, shouldn't that be a legal department?
Well, yeah, we talked about that.
What do you mean?
It's
404.
'cause if it's an employee of the city, it shouldn't be a contracted service.
Yeah, that would
Professional
be a
service.
regular employee. That would be a department, Tom. It just wouldn't be.
Yeah, we were going to put a.
Do we have to create
We
it?
were going to put a law department.
Yeah, I mean, it's segregated. I mean, if we need to set up a separate cost center to track a solicitor, that's fine. I took it to be it's the same service, it's just now in-house versus.
While we're on that, our solicitor bills are outrageous. They're ridiculous. I mean, I've been saying that for 3 years. I mean, Chris coming to meet with you, Joe, I think is a waste of money. He should be at the meetings here. That's where he's best served. That's where he could help us the most. And those bills are through the roof. Do you have a total for the year? I know Dominick's over 400,000 for 2 years.
Well, as of 10/8, when this was run, the solicitor bills, which would be specifically Slusser, were slightly over 40,000. I don't know what's been processed to date.
They're over that. They're way over that. For the year?
10/31, it's
As
66.
of 10/8 here, yes, that's what was
Yeah.
processed,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, that to me is not outrageous.
They're way over that.
Under special legal services.
Can you show me where?
On professional services.
If they're way over that, I'd like to see
Yeah,
where
Well,
the
I
numbers
think they
are.
don't-
We're about
include-
20,000 year-to-date, Gene, on that, and that's really like our labor relations attorney.
Right, but special lit, we would have special lawyers such as when they were doing the civil service contract that was Campbell and Durant, they were all paid out of there. We have like a whole stable of special lit lawyers.
Well, the only one we're using right now is Horgan
Yeah.
Kruger for labor relations. That's what's predominantly in that 20,000.
Look at the actuals for the years. Every one of them's been going down. 11 was 130,000, 12 went down to 85, then 33, 50. What do I mean?
Yeah, predominantly.
So you've been, yeah, but the
So-
point is, you have a zero here, so this means we won't be using any special.
There's no
Well,
way.
when I spoke with the mayor after the previous meeting, he suggested I add another 20 in there for 2015. However, my assumption was that if we hire the right full-time solicitor, they should know labor law. I don't see a need to really seek outside counsel if we actually hire the right person.
Right.
But, you know, that's yet to be seen.
Are we currently using the labor attorney for anything?
Yeah.
We've used them periodically.
Yeah, we use
for
them periodically.
union-
We use them through the negotiations of firemen.
Are we using them for anything else?
Union issues.
Union issues, grievances, and whatever.
Department heads? Anybody from the department using them?
What?
Okay. Now, since we're on this thing here, the new solicitor, are we going to advertise for that? What's the process?
It is
of-
being advertised.
And now, what is the process of hiring the position? Is it, under the new third-class city code in there, it said that a solicitor is to be picked by a means of counsel, or is it going to be like a department head that you pick?
He's the Department of Law. He's the head of the Department of Law. He's a director. He's the solicitor, and the solicitor is nominated by me and approved by you.
Okay. What?
Is it currently being advertised right now?
Right now.
Right now. Okay, Lisa, could I have a copy of the ad, please?
Steve, Lisa has it.
Yeah, I asked Lisa.
It's on our webpage.
Yeah,
Go on our webpage and look.
I'll get it.
Keith, that number, as of
That's on the webpage.
10/31, it was 66,350.
Yeah, I just put it on this afternoon.
This afternoon.
I'm sorry?
Okay, thank you.
I see. Keith asked a question about the year today, and I had up to 10/31.
So he's over.
My budget's different.
No. What I'm suggesting is that wasn't 65,000 budgeted for a solicitor this past year? I don't
For
have
a
it with me
forester?
right now.
For the line item for
Line item,
solicitor
wasn't it
services?
budgeted as 65, so as of
Should be
10,
on- It should be on your
be
sheet.
over? I don't still have it. I'm trying to remember what page it was on.
What was budgeted for the solicitor, and matter of fact, you know what, I do have, I should have an updated report here, so if you bear with me, I'll tell you as of this morning.
70 according to the 12-19 budget, 32 according to the
Well,
211 budget.
And so if we're talking about 10/31 already at 66,350, we've still got 2 months to go.
Yeah, Actually,
That's going to exceed.
364,86 as of this morning, 22,215 on labor relations as of this morning. Law division, we budgeted 130,000. We've spent 93 to date.
Okay.
So is that the only amendment we want to go with?
Looks like. Right now.
Yeah, we'll, this is the first passing. We'll have amendments. When's the next meeting?
3 weeks from now. We could change it to make 3 weeks. We could actually make it 3 weeks because it's 21 days. 20 days in between
Okay.
first and second reading, so we could.
What date is that?
So what date would that be? Check.
The 8th. At least the 8th.
Okay, then that'll be the 20 days between readings to fulfill that requirement.
So it would be
The ninth, we could, we'll have the meeting on the 9th, Tuesday the 9th,
9, Tuesday.
or the 16th. You can't make it the 9th, right? The 16th,
No, I can make it the 9th.
the 9th, you can't make the 2nd. Okay, yeah, the 9th would be the 21st, 20 days would be the 9th, would be the second reading, and then we'd be able to have the third reading on the 23rd. And that still leaves us one week if we had a table anything on the 23rd to carry to the 30th.
Are you changing these meeting dates that you have advertised?
I don't know what was advertised.
Advertised I have here is the 16th is on there.
16th and the 2nd and the
The
16th.
2nd.
You're moving the 2nd, correct?
I'm suggesting it. That
Yeah, we should do that. Lisa, let's
And you're not
do that.
doing second and third reading on the same night?
I think we have to split it up.
Yeah, we'll split it up.
Just in case there's any problems. So Lisa, would you please re-advertise?
Yep.
Yeah, for the December 9th and the 23rd. And whatever meeting we have, just omit those.
Keith, you cannot make the 2nd, correct?
No.
The what?
The meeting on the 2nd, the 16th. Which one couldn't you make?
16th.
16th, okay.
Oh, we couldn't make this.
You're moving the 16th to the 23rd?
The 23rd,
Are you moving the 16th to the 23rd?
correct. It's a suggestion, I can't.
Yeah, no, we're going to do that. Let's do that right now.
Just in case.
Are you maintaining them at 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, done.
I mean, if nothing else changes, we could
Okay.
have a second and third reading on the 9th if we have to. I mean, if possible, unless there's no other amendments made.
Right.
We could
Yeah.
do it, but better safe than sorry.
Yeah, well, yeah, we could, you
Oh, you
could,
just have that
Yeah.
schedule, you don't have to use it.
yeah,
you
we could,
change
we
it,
could
or
put the
you-
second
then
and
you-
third reading on the next, advertise for that, but we don't have to do the third reading. We could just do a second reading and then, and do the third reading, the 23rd.
That works.
If you don't need it, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But
Okay, any other questions?
Nope.
Okay.
No, do you plan on removing the stormwater fee?
What's that, Keith?
Plan on removing the stormwater fee?
Well, that's something we
Something I
have
thought I
to,
read
we
somewhere.
have to think about in the next, between now and the next reading. Listen, I was against it from the beginning, and,
If we remove it, we have to fill it, and that has to be in balance.
Right,
So
yeah,
that's-
and I mean, you keep saying that you're not going to vote for it, so if you're going to leave it in, you need to tell the people that you're going to vote for it.
what's that?
I
Yeah,
said,
we're-
if you're not going to remove it, then you're going to need to pass that to fund the budget. But I know you've been adamant against it, so if you're going to remove it, you need to fund the budget, $300,000.
Well, between now and the next reading, we'll figure something out,
Okay.
okay? Okay, any other questions? Roll call?
Bast?
No.
Cassatt?
Yes.
Mope?
Yes.
Sosar?
Yes.
Monday?
Yes. That's it for the budget. Next is Resolution 2014-116, approving the settlement agreement and global general release of claims regarding litigation involving Thomas Verkusky and Richard Weck and the City of Hazleton, docket number 3CV 13-1459.
Present.
I'll second.
On the question? I know Chris isn't here, and he should be here. He was at the mediation, and even though, I told the mediator I would go along with this, I want to throw up after I vote for it because it makes me sick. It makes me sick to my stomach. I was sick for a week after that, Joe. I'll just have you know. Because I think we could have won this case. I do believe that. After I read the depositions from Tom, but I know, you know, what I was told and what the mediator and the judge told us. So
I think you're right. I think we would have won, but the money we would have spent.
yeah,
Because of the appeal process, it would have cost us.
What they said to us is we could have won, and they could have awarded him no money, $1, and the judge said we would be liable for his legal fees, which up to that point were $33,000, which that made me want to throw up too. But with that being said, I just think we have to, you know, when we have to be more careful in doing things, and I know, you know, Mike is handling the code now, and he's doing a great job, and I think he is, you know, putting some order to the way we do things. I mean, Mike told me before that we had no filing system. They couldn't find files on people, and he's implemented a filing system where you could find files now, and hopefully we're going to do things right and not be in danger of any lawsuits, although I still think they did what they had to do to close that building to save people that were in danger. And the fire chief, Mandak, and everybody, I thought, did what they had to do. But with that being said...
Yeah, this is one of those catch-22s, you know?
Yeah. Okay, any other comments or questions? Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Don't throw up.
Yes. Next is Resolution 2014-117, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Mid-American Energy Company for electricity procurement.
This is the one that's...
I'll present.
Second.
On the question? Yeah, yeah, well, maybe you both, or yeah, Joe, you could go up there, yeah, if you have any questions. Yeah, Frank,
I won't be long. As you remember, back in March, we came and proposed a contract with Direct Energy for the 14 new meters that were installed associated with the Broad Street corridor project. They meter the street lighting along Broad Street and traffic signals. We entered into a 9-month contract. That's going to expire in January. So the contract we're proposing tonight is to replace that contract. We went out for prices from 6 suppliers. The low price supplier was Mid-American Energy. They're from Iowa. It's a Berkshire Hathaway Energy owns them, and it's owned by Warren Buffett. It's a highly rated energy company.
what's the name of the company?
Mid-American Energy.
And Warren Buffett is
Yes.
owner of it?
Yeah.
Wow.
We had very competitive prices. As a matter of fact, I believe the original resolution had a price of a little over 7 cents a kilowatt hour, but there was an indication that we'd refresh the price for tonight's meeting. I did refresh the price this morning, and the price is less than that price. It's 6.927 cents per kilowatt hour. That's 8.6% below the current price, 15.3% below the PPL Electric Utilities default price, and 30% below the price that was in effect in March when we put the first contract into place. This time, I'm recommending to the council and to the mayor, okay, for a 12-month contract. Okay, the reason I'm doing that, I think it's a strategic move in that we have 2 other contracts with Direct Energy for all of the buildings and the street lighting throughout the city. They go until the end of 2015. So if we enter into a 12-month contract here, this will also end at the end of 2015. So we'll be able to go out for pricing for all of the city's load at one time, and I think you'll end up with a better price because you're going out with more of a load. So that's the rationale behind the 12. It'll be easier for Tom and his group to administer the contracts. They'll all start and stop. They'll all stop at the same time. Also, and this may seem minor, but I think it's pretty important. I did have a discussion with Tom early on. He expressed some concern with regards to what they go through to administer the billing today. For this particular contract, today they get 28 bills a month to process, and it becomes a pretty onerous task. What I'm going to do here when we put this in place, they'll go from 28 bills to one bill. Okay, everything will be consolidated on one bill, so it'll reduce the administrative cost. Also, a little bit beyond this contract, I do want to commend the mayor for the initiatives that he's had with the energy procurement over the last couple of years since 2012. In 2013, your average price per kilowatt hour was 8.3 cents. In 2015, your weighted average cost per kilowatt hour is going to be 5.2 cents, which amounts to a reduction in price of 37% over the last 2 years, which is very commendable.
What's PP&L now? What's their rate now for residential?
Their rate now is about 8.5 cents a kilowatt hour, I believe it is. And that's the default rate if you don't choose anyone for commercial accounts.
Now, I know everyone in the residential was changing now, and then they stopped and they had some problems, and is that still going on?
There's a lot of people that went back to the electric utility company. The bills weren't high enough to really be out there shopping. The people that were harmed in the past had rates that changed month to month. They're variable rates. Personally, I recommend fixed rates over a period of time, so at least you have some budget certainty, even in your home. So I think there's people going back to it, Jen.
In other words, those people that call you to get you to change, you have to have a big enough bill for it to mean anything.
Yeah, I would think so myself. If you're electrically heated, air-conditioned home, then...
What do you have for your residential electric?
I'm a PPL retiree, so I have PPL. And a stockholder. I'm disclosing here, guys.
Even though they're higher?
No, I'm in their competitive side, PPL Energy Plus. I don't get a reduction.
Okay, thank you.
But so that's the long and the short of this contract. It's not a major contract. It'll save you about $1,600 in the upcoming budget. So I think it's a pretty good deal. It's below 7 cents, and it's a good price. So thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question before you.
Go ahead. Sorry.
How's the progress of the street light is that?
Joe, you
mean Smart Watt?
Smart Watt, yes.
Yeah, we signed an agreement for them to come in and do their estimate free of charge to the city. And then they'll get back to me with what they feel is, and we'll approach you about.
Yeah, Joe executed the agreement once he felt comfortable with the fact that it wasn't going to expose the city to any cost. The time of the staff would be minimized. Smart Watt agreed to that, so they're going to start the audit process. They're putting together a project plan, and probably within 6 to 8 weeks they'll have a specific savings and the guarantees associated with the project and so forth. So I think it's a good step. Okay. Minimize people's times, get the exact numbers, and see where we go from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next is Resolution 2014-118, a resolution requesting local share funds for the Helping Hands Society.
I'll present.
Second. On the question?
Just on the question, in full disclosure, as I see her sitting back there, and I just want everybody to know, because I don't gain anything by this. I don't have questions for her. I don't have questions. Mary Beth, I'm not going to call you up here. I just want everybody to know, however, that my son, my oldest son, is married to Mary Beth's daughter, and I gain nothing Believe me, except a grandson out of that, and that's more than enough for me. But in full disclosure, I want everybody to know that I gain nothing out of this, so I can vote on this, but I do want people to know because they will see us walking our grandson, won't they, Mary Beth? Thank you.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. That's
Okay,
it.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. That's it for our resolutions. Comments from the audience? Go ahead, Judy.
I listened to a lot of people after I got up and about the different things with the budget, and I listened to the mayor say, trying to justify someone getting an increase of 5% and then another increase and that. And he stated that it was because of the fact that he was qualified and he had, extensive knowledge. My brother works for Merck. He's the head of a department. He just got a promotion, and I'm very proud of him. He's a chemist. He went to school a long time. 9 years he waited for a raise. 9 years, okay? At a company that does better than Hazleton. When they did increase for a percentage for the cost of living, they got 1.5%. Justification on 3%? The gentleman said that we get, for Medicare, we're going to get what'd you say, Dr. Sosar, 1.2?
The assistance gets 1.7, and Social Security gets 1.2.
1.2. The only problem with that is when they give us something, they take away. And like I said, my medicine is going up because of it. So I'm not saying that like somebody doesn't deserve a raise. That's fine. But when people have been on hold for raises in this city because of it, and people that, I'm sorry, worked their butts off in plants making $9 an hour and then have to get another job in order to keep their house, because not only do they want to increase 27% on us here on a city level, but we've got the county coming after us too. They want to increase 4% on us. I don't know where our money's supposed to come from. If you, the young lady was right that was back here. She said, we need to, she doesn't like taxes and this is the only way. No, there's got to be another way. That's what we pay you for.
There are other ways, Judy.
You've got to come in and you want to decorate the downtown on making it. I'm tired of hearing about KOZs. I'm tired of hearing about, we're going to get new businesses down there and nobody shows up. You stated, I believe it was 2 years ago, that St. Joe's, there was something big with St. Joe's Hospital that was going to come in there. Nothing was done there. It's an empty building now. It's been vandalized. There's been windows smashed. There is something wrong with this. And it's like, let's go on the backs of the taxpayers and do whatever we damn well please. I'm tired of it. Everybody I talk to is tired of it. And it's not that, we're sitting back going, we just don't want them to get it right. No, it's like we're hurting and nobody wants to tighten their belts. I don't know where we can do the cuts. Like I said, I don't want, I worked from the time I was 15, the most I ever made at a job. And I was assistant managers in places. The most I ever made was $22,000 a year. I've only been on disability 3 years because I got T-boned on 15th Street. So it's not like I've been, slacking off or anything like that. And I still work part-time because I can't make ends meet. And now you want to put it on these people who have Social Security, people who make $9 an hour, who's going to have to go out and get a second job, who have kids, We've got oil prices for our homes to heat it. It's freezing out there today. My oil's been clicking on all day. We can't afford anymore. And like I said, the county's coming after us too. We're bleeding. If you go on Facebook, and I'm not a real big fan of like listening to some of the social media on what they think, our town's a joke. People who have left here, they're like, bail quickly. I like it here. I was born here. I was raised here. I don't want to leave. You're pushing me out. And I see you sat there and you laughed about certain things.
I can't do anything that you wouldn't pick on.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, if you're look at the people that are around you. Start talking to the people on the street. You said to me the one time, if anybody wants to see me at the one meeting that we had down at the Manning Center, anybody wants to see me, I'm in my office 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. What about the people who work? They can't come see you then. You're not a 9 to 5 mayor.
Nobody's ever called me and asked to see me. Have you? No, wait. Have you?
I have come to meetings.
Have you come and asked me to see me? I would see you whenever, but you don't.
Okay,
You'd rather
okay,
come
Judy,
here
we hear
and
you,
use
Judy.
the PA system.
The way. Go ahead.
I'm glad that you graced us with your presence
Judy,
tonight, but
we heard your pleas, and I hear them. I hear them every day. I have breakfast at the Heritage, at Mary's, at a lot of places. I hear them from people. So your pleas don't go on affairs. Maybe from that side they do, but not for the council. We just knocked a 26% increase. We knocked that out. Now, what's going to happen, I don't know. We're going to make some changes to the budget, but I'll assure you they're not going to include 3% raises for anybody.
Well,
No way.
When you look at something, and like I said, when I got my paycheck week to week, I budgeted myself. This is what I was getting.
Well,
I didn't count on, maybe if I do this.
well,
And that's the thing. You guys work within what you have.
we are going to do that, Judy. We will do that.
You know, I don't want my mom, like, she's on a fixed income. I'm on a fixed income. 90% of Hazleton probably is on a fixed income. Find another way. Get some businesses in here. But, like, you're not going to get them in here if we become the joke of Pennsylvania.
I know.
And on another note,
Doubt that very much. That we're the joke of Pennsylvania. We have our problems like any other city.
you go up to Wilkes-Barre, and I talk to
Yeah,
someone
go to
up in
Wilkes-Barre. They
Wilkes-Barre.
have a murder every day.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to argue with you, Joe. I'm just,
I know.
you know.
Don't argue with me,
Let's
please.
move on, Judy. Go ahead. Go ahead. You had another point?
I have another point about code, okay? Like I said, there's a ton of stuff going around right now. I got stopped by somebody because they know I have a crime watch, and they said that they live in the Perry Court. In fact, you know her, Evelyn Good?
Yeah.
She stopped me. She went down to City Hall, filed a report, told them about this, tire and some garbage that's been in that alley, and the tire keeps falling into the middle of the road. And she keeps this is a lady who's 71 years old, and she said she's having a hard time pulling it back. And she said, I went down there, they told me to fill out paperwork. I filled out the paperwork. It's been 3 weeks. Nothing's done yet. I went down the alley the other day. Still there. Somebody pulled the tire over. Not only that, but next to it, there's a hood of a car, there's a bunch of, and this is in somebody's yard. And then I started looking around, and I'm going, oh my God, if I had a tablet with tickets, I could make a fortune right now for this city. All I have to do is look around. I am, at the next meeting, going to have my mom's tablet because I don't have one, and I'm going around to click on some stuff that's been sitting there, and if I see it, why doesn't code? I have a neighbor in the back who has been switching license plates. I reported that. Nothing has been done yet. Nobody has contacted me. There's 3 cars in the back there. One's covered. And I said before, there was one right on the street, no license plate. They took the license plate in front of everybody, took it off, put it on another car, and drove away. I came down and reported it. Nothing's done.
Well, that's administrative, and I know Mike is, has taken over that, and I think is going in the right direction. and helping to straighten out the code and get it more effective. And I think he's doing that.
And I have one more thing, and then I'll get out of here. We had a spring fling back in June. Some of you guys made it to it. We raised money. We got a police vest. We paid for the police vest, and we have it at the house. We said we wanted to present it to the officer and the dog, and we wanted to do it to make a positive note about Hazleton. We wanted to get the media involved and that. I had called. I was told I had to wait. I was told by one of the officers, Chief DeAndrea, wanted to incorporate a new presentation of a car to this officer also that has the dog. We've had the vest 2 months. I talked to them 3 weeks ago. We're still waiting.
Who did you talk to, Judy?
Let's see, I talked to Officer Schaefer. He told me that he talked to Frank. I was hoping he would be here tonight because I wanted to address it. And we want to set up, it's not for our crime watch to make, it's to show that the people in Hazleton do care. And we did a positive thing instead of all the negative stuff we see in the paper all the time.
Well, maybe the mayor could remind Frank to get in contact, Joe, and maybe get that taken care of. Could you do that for us?
Yep.
Okay.
Because we would like to present it Monday.
That's a positive. That's a good thing, Judy. Thank you.
That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead, Frank. Go ahead. Okay.
But Frank, we don't need them to present a vest. We don't need the car. I don't care about, it's not about the police, it's not about the police force.
He had mentioned about incorporating the car.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, but it's not about the car, it's about what the city, the people of Hazleton did.
Yeah, he wanted to do it all at once. Okay, well, we'll figure something out. Yeah, I know the vest.
I don't care about the car. I just want to present, the dog's running around for the last 2 months, he could have been safe.
I know.
Okay. And
Okay.
we still have the vest. I just want to present the vest.
We'll get that done. Go ahead, Grace. Go ahead.
Grace Kuzo. Just quick question. Has the KOZ been extended for the Markle Bank building? Only because there's a new sign hanging on it. Do you know, or could you find out?
No, that hasn't been extended. I don't think they have extensions.
Yeah, they do. You can get an extension. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
To my knowledge, no.
Could anybody check that for me?
It would have to come before us, I think.
That's what I thought, but could you check it for me?
I remember when Mr. Leitner was here saying, and even Mr. Hayden was here saying, in a year or two they would go back on the tax rolls. I mean, it's in their ninth year? Yeah, it's whatever year it was. They only had one more year, I think, and they were here at a meeting. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Dee.
Dee Deacus, I have a question. Why is there longevity in the executive one? It's an elected position, and I don't think anybody could force him out.
Joe, maybe you could answer that. I mean, it was Louis got it, right? So you get it.
Yeah.
And Quigley got it. Did Quigley get it?
I'm an employee, even though I'm elected. I'm an employee of the city.
it's
Says council, they don't get it.
That's true.
They're not full-time.
No,
No.
Where does it say it has-
Personally, I think that may be something that you want to investigate, you want to check into, because as an elected official, I don't believe that elected officials are eligible for longevity. You get your longevity by getting reelected to something, and the people, if there is an increase in salary, you've got to win re-election to get that, and that's
no,
it. But
you have
not
to,
a longevity.
No,
Joe.
you don't have to.
We have
win
to
an
pass
You don't have to win the election. Council has to approve it prior to the election. Yeah.
You do not get a salary increase.
You don't get a
unless
salary
council
increase
gives you
by winning
the
an
next
election.
The
You
next
don't get a
election.
salary increase by winning an election.
Exactly.
If
but
you,
you don't
want
get
a salary increase, the salary has to be approved by council prior to anybody running for that office, so
And I
they
was
are
just saying
aware
that.
of what the office pays.
but you don't get longevity.
Right.
That's,
Oh,
you
who
get your
said that?
salary, but you don't
Longevity.
get longevity. Maybe
Well-
Tom could look into this with Chris Lesser for us before he's gone.
Well,
You know what,
well,
that-
we'll know. We'll
Just
know.
because
If it's
Barletta
up to
got it
Chris, I
doesn't
know
make
the
it
answer.
right.
I know it's $300, but you know what? We're here in a situation right now where every single dollar counts, Tom. If you could ask Chris about that, that would be a help. You know what? Well, and he doesn't.
That's okay.
Maybe,
He
you,
does
but
it
you're
for me.
closer. You'll see him in a meeting. We won't. So that, maybe that'll help.
Isn't he
okay?
Okay,
But the
okay. go
question
ahead.
is
I
if
know.
you're going to
I
say
don't get
because
return
Barletta
calls
collected it,
either.
if it was wrong with,
Well, it was wrong then.
if
too.
it was wrong then, it doesn't mean we should perpetuate a wrong.
Right.
I know. It could be,
No.
yeah.
Okay,
We'll
what-
ask our attorney.
One other thing, what's the status on the illegal immigration payback? How are we going to pay that back?
Well, we haven't, there's no decisions
Still in
made. I
litigation.
mean, it's still negotiating. I last talked to Chris Kovac a while ago, but I can't, reveal what he said, but it's still negotiating. They're negotiating. Chris is negotiating for us.
Do we have, if we have to pay it this coming year, that may have to be a budget line item.
We're still in litigation.
Well,
The
there's,
decision
lost.
hasn't been made.
Yes, it has, we lost.
And what was the penalty?
Legal fees.
well, they,
How
no,
much?
nothing
How
was
much?
decided, Dean.
How
Nothing
much,
was
Dean?
decided. No.
Let's
They-
not
Tell
go
us how
there.
much.
Wait,
Let's
Joe.
not go
We
there.
should be careful what we say, Joe. But
Please,
nothing's-
let's not go there.
They didn't rule that we had to pay their legal fees. That's
Yeah, that's still in litigation.
Let's not go there, okay?
yeah. That's no. The judge didn't decide yet. It goes before Judge Munley. He has not decided yet. It could go before him. Whether we want to go before him, that's another story. But it hasn't been. We lost the case.
Right, okay.
The one part of the immigration passed, and from what I understand, another state they ruled, or another lawsuit in another court ruled on for some of what we had in ours. So it's stupid that the Supreme Court doesn't take this and rule on it, but
Make it uniform.
and try to because one court ruled that some of what we had in our ordinance was okay, and in this circuit court ruled that it wasn't. But it goes back to Munley, who originally
Did the case.
did the case, and he will decide if they petition him. He'll decide whether to rule on what's payable. So,
Okay, thank you.
like I said, they haven't been awarded yet, but that's a good question, and it's something we should worry about.
Well, and it's something you don't swallow all at one time. I mean, you're absolutely right, making a good point there, but going back to what I said about maintaining a healthy fiscal house, you would have reserves and you would have such that you can encounter unexpected, unanticipated consequences like that. But for you to all of a sudden say, okay, I'm going to budget $2 million next year or $3 million next year, that's a big hit at one time. So it behooves everybody to get the house in order, to gradually turn things around, to be fiscally sound going forward, and not have a knee-jerk reaction to say, okay, all of a sudden, I need this large dollar amount.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Go ahead, Norm.
Norman Tarantino, Hazleton. First thing is there a parking authority or isn't there? Has it been officially phased out? That's been a question that's been going on for a couple of months. I wanted to...
Yeah,
Yes.
it's been dissolved. Yeah, yes, Norm.
Who's now going to handle parking tickets then for the city? Will that go revert to the police to do everything, or will there be parking officers still employed to write parking tickets? How's that going to be handled now?
I think we took John right now.
John is working with Frank DeAndrea in the police department, so all tickets will be taken downstairs.
Yeah, they'll be taken care of like they normally would. So we're okay.
Also, what about working on something to get the after-hours clubs addressed? I know I brought that up before.
Yeah,
because
we're working on that. Norm,
because it's pretty bad that you go down Broad Street and you see a crime scene that's been there for over a month with shot-out windows.
We're getting some ordinances from other cities, and we're working on that, Norman.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead, Norm.
Mark Rabo, Hazleton. As far as the budget goes, if the stormwater fee, I was confused because in your questioning about the budget, you're saying about the stormwater fee is going to be supposedly now revived. And I would like to know, under how is it going to be revived? Is it going to this time follow state law? Because the last one didn't. And it's got to have its own public meeting or public hearing on that by Stormwater Management Act. It says it's got to be under a public meeting.
Stormwater management, which is different than a stormwater tax.
Okay.
Management is all about if you build a home or a building and it disperses a certain amount of water from the rain, you have to put in drains around your property. That's management.
Okay, well, that's still under the
state law.
The state law, the stormwater.
This is to maintain the sewers, the storm sewers.
Okay, Mark, it's nice you brought that up, but it's a moot point anyway because this isn't the previous council.
This is where I'm getting at. This is where I'm getting at. As far as the stormwater fee, if that's not revived or reenacted, as Jeff and Keith alluded to, how are you you have to plug that,
We know.
375. Now, and also, there's another question I have as far as rental registration. That's under appeal. So how is that going to, that money, that revenue has to be realized somehow. I mean, because
rental inspection.
Rental inspection, excuse me. Rental inspection. Excuse me.
There's no rental inspection in the budget.
That's definitely, there's no rental inspection in the budget.
The inspection is not in the budget.
But that's something we're going to revisit. I know I talked to the chief, the fire chief, and the chief, the head of code, and they said that we should just throw that out and just go by the UCC code, which I think you agree with too.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we'll be leaning towards.
And I have a question about that because Judy alluded to the code. For code enforcement, and also because you were saying about Verkusky, how it makes you sick, I have a suggestion, okay, as far as how to handle that in the future. You might want to have, people who write citations for code, they should be certified for code enforcement, because in the 2008 state law, you have to be certified to issue code citations.
Well, some of them, I don't know about code, but some of them are
under UCC.
Some of them are, Mike. Some of them are not code. They're right.
Yeah.
For
property.
Okay,
yeah,
Mark.
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
that's
what I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just making that clear.
Okay. Man.
Now, also, with regards to somebody brought up about revenue. Okay, I've been up here making suggestions for almost since the beginning of the year about how to expend on revenue, but I'm not an elected official, and nor am I a chamber of commerce or the community development director or can do. Those are the people or entities that are responsible for bringing in revenue to the city, finding new ways to bring revenue. Where are they at? Because those are the people who are.
Hey, I talked to Kevin O'Donnell about the non-watershed land that the water has, and he's going to help us. He also says that there's other property that maybe could be sold, and maybe we can get that money into the city. But I talked to him. I'm probably going to meet with him maybe Thursday or Friday, and see what ways he could help.
Okay, for any kind of economic development, how about this? The city has an entity, like I said, the Community Development Office, and also the Redevelopment Authority and Vacant Property Committee, which, since we're all here, since the mayor's here and council's here, I just wanted to know, when is that Vacant Property Committee going to be restarted or reenacted? Because guys have to get with that because, like I said, under state law, under urban redevelopment law, you have to have that.
Are there vacancies on that? Have you filled any of that, or have you gotten anybody?
There were people that were seated on it. It's never been active.
Is it filled, Joe?
Yeah, they were filled. Whether they're
All
still,
5 positions?
Well, whether they still want to serve, I don't know. They've been on
they were appointed earlier, and you
about
don't know.
2 years.
Okay, well, maybe we could contact them or have.
Well, you have to have some sort of plan before you start calling committees together. And we're looking, the land bank stuff. We're trying to. That's going to be.
I'm glad you brought that up, because
The bank is going to take a while, Joe.
That's not going to happen.
the land bank. If
It's
you're
not
going to
gonna
form a
happen,
land
period.
bank without having a vacant property committee even established, and let alone even meeting, is like putting a nice shiny metal roof
Well, you didn't hear
on
what
top
I
of a
said.
structure.
You
that's
didn't hear
gonna
what I
collapse.
said.
Hold on, Mark. Hold on. Go
Okay.
ahead.
You were
Joe.
too busy. You jumped on that land
okay,
bank
go
like
ahead,
crazy.
Joe.
Well, you brought it up.
Yeah.
Mark,
well,
hold on.
I
Go
brought
ahead,
it up,
Joe.
but you didn't give me a chance to finish.
Okay, finish.
ahead, Joe.
That's not going to happen. It's very difficult for that to happen. You get that land bank, you have to go buy a property. You have to first go out and get people to donate the money to buy this property.
You're right, Joe.
And then
There
try
is-
to rebuild it and then hope
Joe,
to make a profit and hope to sell that at a profit that you can do another one.
Joe,
It's
I agree with you.
difficult as can be,
I agree with you, Joe. 100%.
especially when we don't have any money.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
All right.
Okay, that's, first of all, that's not the premise of the land bank, but that's, getting back to the vacant property committee. The vacant property review committee has to actually be in place and be meeting, because then the redevelopment authority can't meet. Under state law, it says that they cannot meet without the vacant property review committee being in place. So the redevelopment authority we've established here have been meeting without that vacant property review committee in place.
The
Okay,
committee
Mark.
is
Okay.
in place.
Okay, Mark.
The committee's in place.
We're going to work on that.
All
We're
right.
going to work on fixing
Thank
those
you, Mark.
committees.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, my name is James Smolligan. I live in Hazleton. You just saying about you need to get money in this town. Okay, if wintertime comes, no one obeys the law. You got to be on the one side where it's banned. Mm-hmm. Where's the cops then to ticketing? My street.
Okay.
Every time I look out the window, no one's getting ticketing.
What street are you on, Jim?
Carson Street, and
Yes.
nobody's getting ticketed.
There's a lot of our streets I
Yeah.
drive around. They're not getting ticketing because it's snowing bad.
Last
I feel
year-
bad
Well,
for these road crew
Yeah.
because they have to go around the
Yeah.
vehicle. They're not getting ticketing. Even going out Diamond Avenue, I don't know how many times I saw no tickets on it.
Chief DeAndrea just said at the last meeting
That
that
he's-
that's
he's
the
been-
month he makes the most money in.
The chief's on top of that. When it snows, he's going to be
They
there,
have
yeah.
to do something. That's another way you can
We've
make money.
been doing thousands and thousands of dollars on tickets
Well,
for snow ban.
Yeah, we're working on that.
And we're missing
this-
one or two, I
another-
guess.
Another thing, Mayor,
Yes.
about these people driving with these cars with the windows down, blasting the music.
Yeah, we're after them.
You have to crack it down a little bit
We've
more.
been made, well, if we had the police, we
They
would
have
do
to.
it.
The police has to put the window down and listen.
I know, but they're
If
not.
they don't want to listen, they shouldn't be in as a police
officer.
officer.
Right, that is a problem. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And there's
That's a
another
problem.
thing on the corners. Everybody parks on the corner.
Yeah, they're supposed
And
to be
these fire trucks can't get through
20
or
feet.
emergency vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
West Hazleton has what they call painted lines.
Yeah, we
the
painted
corners.
some, but we didn't paint them all.
You should get somebody to start
Yeah.
doing more.
20 feet.
Please.
Okay.
I'm trying to help out the city
Yeah.
because I love the city.
So do I.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Jim.
Thanks.
Thank you. Go ahead.
John Homer Hazleton. I'm in full agreement about it being found to be completely outrageous about raising the taxes to get more policemen here. how anybody could sit and knowing that they would want to raise the taxes and hurt the people and not care should get out of Dodge.
Okay, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Where's Dodge?
Okay, is that it?
Where's
Okay, Teddy, go ahead, Teddy. Okay, Joe.
Ted Sherrock, Hazleton. I don't know if, I guess I'm one of these guys that looks at the glass as always half full instead of half empty. I'd like to compliment the city clerk and the mayor for being here. I haven't seen anybody at that table, I guess, since about April, and I missed 2 meetings. And the last 2 times that you were here, Mr. Mayor, and I don't know our city administrator.
Mr. Pavola.
Tom.
The difference is just magnificent. I feel attention is still there, but the cooperation, and there's somebody, the council's being hammered here and they don't have answers. That's all they need is an answer. And you did a tremendous job answering the questions tonight. Maybe everybody doesn't disagree or agrees with what you said, but I'm in the same boat as everybody else. Nobody wants to raise taxes, and I know you people don't want either, but we need to get revenue. But the only way we can do it is we need to have you here and with the attorney. And I would ask the people that are here, I think one of the main reasons the mayor wasn't coming is because you have a tendency to have your horns up and badger the man. He doesn't need to take that, as well as the council doesn't need it. We can't badger them. I'm speaking.
I know, John. Let him speak. He's okay. Go ahead, Teddy.
I feel that people are getting up here with their ire up, and they're looking for the hair in the egg, and they're badgering, not giving suggestions.
I know.
It's been amazing how calm these meetings have been the last couple of times, and if we can continue that, I think the city can go forward, because I know for a fact that the council people, the number of hours that you have in since this budget was presented to you has to be outrageous. You know, I know one of the council people.
We're making minimum wage.
One of the council
minimum.
people ended up in a hospital of not taking care of their health because of the time they put in. I commend you for the job you're doing, the job you're trying to do.
Thank you.
And I would ask that my fellow Hazletonians come up with temper their, I don't know other words.
Their zeal.
The badgering of people and give presentations that you're not just picking for the bad things. Try to come out with some good, so we're not getting that reputation throughout the city. I do commend the people for being here, though, and the way all of you acted towards having them here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Okay, is that it? No more comments? Comments from
Junior council.
Junior council? You have anything to say? Go ahead,
They're
Josh. You can
asleep.
say
It's
something.
past their bedtime.
I just have a few questions. Did you guys say there was an exemption from the tax hike? Like some people were exempted from the tax hike in the budget?
Well, they're
Veterans don't have.
Union members.
There are tax exemptions to veterans.
Oh, veterans, yeah, it was a veteran. Veterans are tax exempt. They have no problem. We did that last week, Josh.
You said union members too.
No, just veterans.
I think you're, Josh, were you talking about the FICA tax for, if for firefighters and police officers do not have to pay FICA, which is Social Security tax.
They're not in the system. Okay. Any other questions?
They're in the
Council?
system, they get Social Security, but they don't have to pay in.
Okay, comments from the mayor or administrator? Joe, you want to make any comments?
Yeah, I'd like to make one comment. Tom has worked very hard on this budget. It's not the perfect budget, never is, but he worked hard on it, trying to be realistic. Since I've been here, we've been trying to get realistic numbers that are for expenses and try to work from there. So he's been very, very good at that, and working with our directors and trying to hold the budget in place is a very difficult thing to do because of the overtime and emergencies that pop up and what happens, all the equipment you have running and breakdowns and stuff like that. But it's difficult, and I just wanted to compliment Tom publicly for the job he's doing in administrating the budget.
Thank you. Tom, would you like to make a comment? Or? I think I talked way too much. No, you don't. Okay, comments from council, Keith?
When it comes to the budget process, everybody always has ideas or gets frustrated. Some of the problems that we've had in the city, and I've raised it many times, is that over the course of the last 10, 15, 20 years, there were many years where there was no increase in taxes. I know that particularly from 2003 when I bought my home until 2009 that my city taxes went up $10. When you have increase in services, increase in police, and then also increases in salary, you end up in the positions that we're in at this point in time when we have loans that we've taken out just to pay our bills. And if there isn't a small tax increase every year, you're going to run into those problems again because your expenses go up every year, no matter what. And it doesn't need to be 26%. If we can get a small tax increase, it's just the 26% was basically based on the 10 police officers. And if there's a small one, if we don't have police officers, obviously the mill was taken out tonight. With the PEL report that we had a couple years ago, the financial situation for the city looked pretty bad. I would like maybe, after the budget process and everything else, if Tom, if you can come back for a meeting and just kind of tell us where we are, with the Pell report, and just so the people know. Where are we? Are we still going to be in that hole? Are we still looking at all these deficits, et cetera? I mean, it would be nice if there was a time, if you can do that, if you have time. I'm not giving you a timetable on it, but, at some point in time, moving into the next year, if that's possible, because their report looked bleak for this city, where we were going to be millions and millions in debt. And you can't go with no tax increase or decrease taxes if your expenses are going up. And that's what was done, and there were one-time fixes that ran the gamut for years. And that's how it was done and how the budget was balanced. And then when those one-year tax, loopholes basically, by taking those one-year breaks, whether it be from Hazleton Creek or whether it be from selling something else, when they run out, you're just end up hitting the taxpayer with a huge tax increase all at once, which ended up happening over the last couple years, which is sad to say because it just wasn't run correctly in the previous years. And I know that some of that had to function with the Luzerne County not doing an audit or not doing property taxes and not renewing them for, it was 40 years, I think, between reassessments is what I'm trying to get at. And that had to play in it as well. But we also need to be able, and Tom's, I think, doing a tremendous job since he came on, because the way that just everything was run in the past, I mean, it was just a mess, to put it lightly. And I just wanted everybody to know that we can't give zero tax breaks for years and years and years, and then everybody think that everything's okay when you have from 2000 until now with 20 new police officers and with all of that. A couple other things that also made me sick, Jack, to have to vote on that tonight. That's one contention of mine since I've been on council is code enforcement, and it always seems to get passed around, and for the amount of time that I've been on here, it seems like there's always excuses and always things going wrong, and people need to be held accountable at some point in time because it's just one thing after another, and honestly, sometimes it just gets disgusting with some of the things that I have to hear and see when it comes to that department. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming today and for giving us your thoughts. I'm looking forward to hearing what the amendments are at the next meeting for this budget, but I couldn't vote no on something where we took a tax item out and still left expenses in for the $1 million. So.
No. Wait. No, we took out the.
You took out the mill tax increase,
and we took out both of them.
No, you only took out the increase. You didn't take out expenses.
Well, we could do that at the next meeting. Okay.
The expenses, that's...
Okay, well, we could do that at the next meeting, or whatever we're going to do.
Yeah. So
thank
you,
Keith,
that.
for pointing that out.
Well, the mill would cover the expenses. I think that's a separate that's a separate.
You took out the revenue, but you took out
the 1 mil. Without that, it's a separate fund.
Yeah.
So
right.
if you take that, the whole fund would come out.
Well, I mean, it's built into the budget. You just took out the 1 mil tax increase.
Okay.
You didn't take out the expenses.
Well, we'll check with Chris on that, whether
revenue.
we just took out that. But thank you, Keith.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Jeff?
Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
Jeff, go ahead.
Well, actually, back to that. I mean, if that's the case, then we have to vote on that. We have to reopen the meeting and vote on that because we need 20 days in between. If that's the case, then we have to decide that right now.
No, I mean, you guys are the ones who.
This is why.
Reconsider
This is
your
why we need Chris here. This is another reason why I've been saying this for a year. Why we need Chris, and he doesn't need to come to those meetings that you have at City Hall. This is more important. But
Jack, I can't help. Well,
you can't help me. Yeah, you're not a lawyer. You can help me. I mean, that's why Chris should be here.
I mean, you should have given us some time.
You're putting us all at risk by not having Chris here for our errors and omissions, everything, and you're putting the city at risk.
No, I'm not.
You could pass a budget going into next year. It doesn't have to be passed by that.
Well,
that's what we had the problem last year. We said it had to be balanced. That's the whole thing last time.
we
passed.
don't have.
Well, it has to be balanced on the last.
We said last year, and that's what they came up with. No, that's where the problem came in last year, where they said it had to be balanced.
It has to be balanced at the last.
That's what Chris said. But then when it went to court, they said it had to be balanced after the first reading, and that's where we ran into the problem because they made the amendment to change on a percentage rate, and it didn't balance by $12,000, and that's where it was at. So that would be the same spot right now. So
That was the third reading.
no, it wasn't. It was the first reading.
I've never heard of the balance.
The budget was presented unbalanced. That was the problem.
After the first reading.
No, it was presented to us unbalanced. Yeah, it was presented to us
do you have any
unbalanced.
opinion on this?
The other thing
Do you
is,
have we have a legal opinion?
if you remove the
Or your personal opinion?
if you remove the $903,000, like Keith is saying,
yes,
you have expenses here that'll never be expended.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
Well, I'm just
Nobody's going to be there at the end of the year.
I was trying to address Keith's.
You know what?
It's going to be done.
Go ahead, Dr. Sosa.
If I could suggest this, first of all, we always seem to wait until it's courtesy of the floor of council members to get into these kind of things. And, this meeting has not come to an end as of yet. I'm tired of having to listen to these kind of things when this could just as easily have been mentioned while we were at that point during the meeting. But, again, it was not. So if that be the case, since this is a time right now, I will ask that we go off the agenda, and if we can, that I get a second for that, we'll do what we have to do.
Second.
I second
There we
it.
go.
Okay,
Now,
so
it goes right to it, and, if you want to embarrass people, then we'll take care of this. That's okay, not to worry. Go ahead. Make the motion then to
delete the expenses from the budget, from the 1%.
Keith, why don't
we
you
have
make
to go
it?
off go back to the.
Oh, we need the vote to go off the agenda.
Okay.
Roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Thank you.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes, okay. Now we're back to take the expenses out of the budget.
Yeah, I'd like
to
to amend the budget to remove the expenses. Is this what we're doing?
Well, well,
Because we
first you
don't
probably
the
have
milk?
to, first you would probably have to rescind the vote on passage of it first,
Well,
and
Yeah,
then
we can do
open that back
Go
up.
ahead. And then I'll make the motion that we rescind that vote. There we
Okay,
go.
we
Make
will
everybody
rescind the
happy.
vote.
Second.
Who seconded?
I did, okay. So we rescind the vote on the budget. Roll call.
it's not a budget.
Bast,
No.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we're back to the budget again.
Now you can make an
Now
amendment.
even it out.
Now you can make an amendment to,
A motion to take out the expenses. What are the total expenses?
We have to make a motion to take out the expenses and the 1 mil.
Well,
Both.
we did
No, we
take
did.
that.
No,
the
we
one-
just rescinded it.
Oh,
the
okay.
amendment still stands.
There, is everybody
The
happy?
amendment would still stand. You have to vote to take out the expenses.
Everybody happy?
Okay, we're gonna do that. Okay, let's get this meeting over with. We're gonna make an amendment.
Make a motion to
Take out
amend
the
to amend the
1%
budget to
and
take
the-
out
and
all
the
the expenses that go
that
along
go
with
along with that.
the special tax.
I'll second it. On the
Okay.
question. Roll call.
Bast,
I don't know if we can do that without a number. Can we do that without a number?
It's 9, what is it?
No,
What
it's
is the
amendment
number?
to the budget vote. You have to vote after this.
909.
As long
Yeah,
as
you
it's
could-
balanced.
Okay.
You
yes.
don't need it. It's just an amendment. You don't need a number.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Okay,
Now we have to vote on the ordinance.
the budget, the
You have to
budget
vote on the budget as amended.
as amended.
Yes. Roll call.
No, you have to
No, we
present
have
it.
to present.
We did present it.
And-
We didn't go that far back.
Amended,
We didn't go that far back. We're in the middle of the amendments. Now you can take a roll call on
Okay, on the budget, roll
on the
call?
budget.
Bast,
No.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. That's it. Jeff, go ahead, you have to, Keith is done talking.
Okay, now we'll get the comments. Mayor. I don't want to be. Did the city ask any of the department heads or the engineer to apply for any of the LSA grants for this?
They are.
I did.
We did.
They are, and they've been every year.
I
Okay.
sent out a memo to them.
Good. Okay, that's good. Okay, and then I guess I'll get back to the budget thing. I guess I feel that we did have to pass a first reading of the budget tonight to meet the timeline requirements of it. I think there's a lot of things that need to be addressed and that I'm not really happy with. But to make the timeline of the 20 days and then the 10 days, I felt that it had to make a passage of first reading tonight. I mean, I want to see a realistic and a concrete budget that doesn't have much fluff in it, so the city could move forward. Next year, we have a lot of stuff that's coming up that's going to need to be addressed, and I don't think we could really afford much of a tax increase this year. We have 2 more meetings to decide on those things. So that's it. I guess it was nice having you here tonight. I guess I would thank everybody else for coming, and happy Thanksgiving. That's it.
Doesn't matter.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
Go ahead.
Go
Frank,
ahead.
I wanted to bring something up. It was brought up tonight about the potholes and whatnot, and we did get a wonderful machine. I understand the department's happy with it. I hope you're happy with it as well. Could we, if we don't have it established, reestablish that pothole hotline? Because we're able to use this now in the winter time, and I'd like to see it out as much as possible, weather permitting, all right? At least get it out 1 day a week if you can, so we can stay ahead of the potholes or keep up with them at least. And then if we have the hotline, then if there's any major problems that you see, can they call your, the highway garage, and this way you can have them addressed. And if not, let us know.
Are you going to be using it all winter? As long as your guys are free.
Yeah, and the weather's permitting.
Hopefully, if there's no snow.
Okay.
Those potholes on, huh? Buffalo. Wow. The potholes that were filled in front of the animal shelter, they're still there?
They're still there.
I went past a couple days ago. Yeah, it's amazing. That worked
And
fine.
thank you for picking that, because I go over that all the time.
Is it a 4 or 6 ton? 4 ton. Okay. The one we looked at was a 2 ton. Okay.
Yeah, that was the smaller version. But thanks. Let us know how you're operating, you know.
You know, you could call the guy from, maybe he can give you some tips. His name is from Kingston, Jim Gooley. I have his number. Well, Joe has his number from the COG.
Yeah, we talked to him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Maybe he can give you some tips of what he does. He was
Well,
pretty.
he brought his here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was his.
We had the
that was the one they were using.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
you're
the
right.
kids.
But maybe you could call. He has some ideas of what to mix, what to do. Maybe you could call him and pick his brain and maybe get some ideas to help you. You know, he's been running it for what, a year now, or
Yeah, he has.
so.
Well,
He
not
might
quite.
know. He loves it. He thinks it's the greatest. He thinks it's, he wishes he had two
yeah,
of
they
them.
want to get a secondary machine.
He wish he had
that
2
might-
of them.
That might be possible down the line. And like I said, I asked all the department heads to submit their grants, their applications for the
You know what he says? He said that's the best thing he got, and he said the people don't call him once the potholes are filled. It stops the calls. Did you?
Well, thank you. And I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight, participating, putting your 2 cents in. It doesn't go unnoticed. Just so you know this, we do listen, we do hear. And we're trying our best to take care of what we can. Priority comes first, you know, the most important things. But yeah, we are listening to all your pleas. We know that the budget has to have some changes in it, and there will be changes, amendments to the budget. We know that your position now is that the tax increase of 26 is way out of line for what the city can afford at this time. I'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank Tom for coming. It's nice to see your face. I almost didn't recognize you, but it's nice to see your face. Thank you, Mayor, for coming. I appreciate it 2 weeks in a row. We don't know what we're going to do if you don't fill that seat. You know, continuously would be nice. And hopefully we can get the solicitor here as well. And I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Please have a safe holiday. Watch the weather and stay warm. Good night.
Thank you, Gene. Dr. Sosar?
First of all, thank you, everybody, for coming. Mayor, thank you. Tom, thank you for coming. You answered some questions for us tonight. I think we're moving ahead forward on the budget in a positive way. There are things that we have some problems with, obviously, and we're going to disagree. But if we can work these on out and come to at least an effective budget, I think that's what everybody's looking for, and I think that's what we all want. I do agree with you. Again, we teach some of this stuff too. The fund balance is important. It's always important to have a 10 to 15%. Would that we could get there would be nice. We've really got to tighten our belts, and we've got to take a look at some important things if we're going to get to that 10 to 15%. It's what most governments are supposed to have. We all know, and I'm sure you're aware as well, that not everybody gets there. But it is nice to have a fund to be able to call on for emergencies. We're trying our best to meet your needs, everybody here, but not everybody here alone, everybody in the city. Thank you for Mr. Crawford for your help.
Yes, thank you.
Frank, for your department in getting those holes. I think there were a couple from last meeting. I remember somebody saying on 20th Street. Yeah, I don't know if you got there, but 20. You did? Okay, wonderful. Because there was one or two down there where they were ready to name. But thank you. I know that's not an easy job, but we got to get some of that stuff done. Again, If it's because of a couple of voices that get raised in the process, please, you know what? I don't get upset about anybody. I like everybody here. I'm not opposed to anybody, but there's a passion. And we all have to realize that there's a passion in this room, because I think that everybody here wants something done well for this city. So if you don't mind, and I apologize if I raise my voice at times, but that's because I love Hazleton too. And I'm going to fight for Hazleton. And I'm going to fight for the people in it. They've given me their confidence by putting me here in this seat. They've given everybody else that confidence by putting them in these seats too. So we take that seriously. We take it seriously, and I hope everybody else does too. But that's where we're at. And if we work for the best of Hazleton, then we're going to be more on common ground than we're going to be on different ground. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Dr. Sosa. I have just one or two quick things. Tom, I know we got the rough draft of the audit. Did they say when they'll have a final or when they'll come in and talk to us about it? Or
We met yesterday. He anticipates presenting it to council on December 2nd, but I'm assuming not. That'll change that meeting. So it should be ready by the 2nd.
Okay, so we'll have the final. Okay. And I guess he got the memorandum on our legal from Chris, or he has that, or that's not holding anything up. Could you forward that to us?
Legal disclosure?
Yeah. Yeah, that gives us an idea of where we're at. Would that have all our litigation on it, Joe? Did you see that letter?
Yeah, I saw what he was asking for. I didn't see the answer. He sent it to Tom, but I think in the audit it'll spell that out.
If not, could you get Chris to? I mean, we don't.
I'm in the audit. It will say the outstanding cases we have.
Could you get Chris to? And that's all our outstanding cases total.
Well, yeah, I guess. He handles all of them.
Go ahead, Tom.
Chris discloses what he sees the exposure as. I'm not sure it gives you a total composition of what.
Maybe you could direct him. I want to know all our litigation.
Yeah.
Even stuff that even stuff he's not handling, or that we have.
Yeah, he would know. They're like the Illegal Immigration Act is still litigation, so he would be listing that.
But even stuff that he's not handling, because our
insurance
he's not
company, handling that.
No, I know our insurance company is handling these other lawsuits, right?
Right.
The Garay and.
But he's notified about them. So.
But he'll give us a listing of what we have, what there is.
Right.
Okay. I just want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. Thank everybody for coming. Tom, I know you worked hard on the budget. I appreciate it, and it's nice that you're here to answer some questions. I feel the frustration of everyone. I go out to breakfast every day, lunch, and people come up to me and said that they can't handle a 26. You just give people another excuse to leave Hazleton with more tax increases, and we have to find a way to change that. And the problem in Hazleton, and I was at the county meeting, Mark was there, I asked them about doing reassessment. Our taxes in Hazleton, when they were reassessed, they did at the height of the market. Our taxes now that are way over the assessment. People are selling their homes for between 10 and 50% less. I had one of my clients by the high school sell their double that the county had assessed at $160. It sold for $55,000. It was a brick double by the high school, across from Petruzzi's Pizza. From 160 to 55.
Be careful for what you ask for.
Because if you reassess
Joe,
it, you're going to have to increase taxes then.
Well, the reassessment, but
you can't reassess isolated areas. They'd have to do a countywide reassessment.
Well,
the reestablish the floor for the millage.
The problem is people in our area are paying higher taxes for properties.
You can't reassess a pocket. You'd have to reassess the entire county. That's law.
I know.
And you'd reset the millage so that
And they'd still pay the same amount.
I know. I had them all convinced at a meeting. They were thinking about it, and then Tony Alou came up and said it would cost $2 million.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was totally gone. But part of the problem is the people that are trying to sell their homes in Hazleton, they can't sell them because their taxes are too high. And even when they sell their houses, they're getting between 20 and 50% less than their assessment.
But my understanding is if you pay $200 on your house in taxes, and it's worth $200,000, and then you get a reassessed for $100,000, you still pay $200.
Well,
You know, because
No, no, no.
they redo the millage.
No.
They change the millage.
no, you're wrong.
Okay.
Reassessment, you don't get a reduction just.
No, when you challenge your taxes at the county level and they lower your value, the taxes based on your value would lower your taxes.
Correct, if you do, if you appeal.
If you appeal.
But if you reassess the whole county, it's going to stay the same.
They reset the base, so your tax,
Right.
if your base goes down, your millage has to equal.
Well, that's, yeah.
We were paying 25 mils.
It's-
They reassessed. We were paying one something,
No.
but it was the same amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ploy by government that,
Yeah.
that when you reassess, but the problem was that they reassessed at the highest of values that the homes were. Right now, you're paying, almost 6 mils. Now, that would be the equivalent of the 25 mils that you paid, plus the 5 that we go to the court for, plus we would be doing debt service into another 5 to 10 mils on top of that. And you would be still at what would be the equivalent of 6 mils. But that's something that government has always done. You reassess, you draw it up so you can lower the mills, and you're still asking the good people here for the same amount of money. The problem is that at some point, whether it looks like 5 mils or 40 mils, it's still a heck of a lot of money to people. It's just a ploy. It's really just a ploy. So what we've got to do is think somewhere, and I know it's easier said than done, to think outside the box, to come up with some means of revenue that, A, are consistent. You're right. The PEL was right when they say you can't live on one-time deals. We've been living on one-time deals in Hazleton for years, and we can't continue to do that. But we do have to think outside the box beyond what taxes call for, too. There's got to be some place in between that we can, if there is a tax increase at all, it's a minimal amount because you have some other source of funding that comes on in. And that's what you've got to do.
Thank you, Dr. Sosa. With that, yeah, we have to think of other ways to raise revenue besides taxes, and it's not easy. Hopefully, our agreement with the HCA, we could come up with some ideas through their help. Which I know at one time. Remember, Joe, when Louis first came and the sewer came to the rescue, they gave him a check.
Yeah.
Maybe we could beg them for a check.
They did us a big favor by taking the sewers over.
Yeah, that's true. They did do us a favor.
They did. A big favor.
Well, they cost us. We had to give up that revenue. But with that, I'm saying I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for coming. Meeting. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.